What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC television, and movie news right here over on our Facebook page, along with going live over on YouTube as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us today. It's been a minute since I've been in front of the camera talking of fantastic news with you guys each and every week. I know I was certainly out of town last weekend, but we're back in the saddle, ladies and gentlemen. We are certainly back to go ahead and break down this week's hottest news for you guys, and hopefully have you guys join us for some discussion. Remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply our A-plus opinions, but we certainly want to go ahead and know yours. So feel free to let your thoughts be known in the live chat. Join in on some of our discussion, or feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section box below after this particular video winds up airing, ladies and gentlemen. So it's good to be back in the saddle. I wish that we had the entire crew here to certainly welcome you, but even though we don't necessarily have everybody, we still got our boy Stuart in the house. What's going on, Stuart? Good to see you, man. How you been, buddy?
I've been doing pretty well. Super tired this morning, but I'm getting by.
I feel you. Power of the coffee, my friend, right? Where's your cup? Yes. I know you got one there. Here, clink with me, buddy. Here, clink with me. Clink, clink, clink. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I was out of town last weekend. I was actually in New York City visiting my family and relatives. We actually had a memorial service for my grandmother, who unfortunately passed away in June. We were just trying to figure out when the best time was going to be for everybody to certainly get together. And we definitely did last week. Had a little bit, it was like a memorial service / luncheon, if you will. Get an opportunity to bring like a bunch of family, friends over the years together, just kind of hang out. But it was an awesome time. I had an incredible time kind of going down memory lane a little bit, seeing everybody's familiar face, along with just seeing my own old stomping grounds where I used to grow up at and things like that. It was very emotional and very moving, but really fantastic at the same time. I feel like as I get older, I don't want to say I appreciate family a little bit more, but you just, I don't know, it just kind of puts things into perspective for you. You know what I mean, Stuart?
Yeah. For me, it was like it was like always interesting because, you know, as a kid, you tend to fight with your older siblings like all the time. But then like as you grow up and you get older and you mature over time, my brothers and I feel like these last 5 years become closer now more than we ever had been back when I was like, younger and when I was a kid.
Yeah, man, and most definitely. So for being able to go back there was a fantastic opportunity. I definitely missed it. People ask me all the time, Adam, would you live in New York City again? I don't know if I would go that far. It's great for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, be a tourist for a little bit. But that lifestyle in regards to it being so busy is just so different from out here in Texas. Things are a lot more slow out here. People take their time. There's really no rush. You know what I mean? But once you get into the city, it's just a whole different switch you have to kind of turn on. But love the environment. I absolutely loved visiting. But if I could be honest, it's great to be back home. To be honest, it's really great to be back home. So I'm glad that we're here with everybody here today. Who do we have in the chat? We got Indy in the house. What's up, Indy? Appreciate you coming through. And of course, my mom's here, guys. My mom's here as always, who I got the opportunity to hang out with, which is crazy, Stuart. I was thinking to myself when I was in New York, I hadn't seen my family in like a year and a half because of COVID and everything like that. I think the last time I saw him was like December 2019. And then I think just like that January, that's when the shit sort of just hit the fan. And so all 2020 didn't get the opportunity to travel. And this was our first time being able to kind of get together. So it was really great to be able to see family once again. So in the words of Vin Diesel himself, family, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely goes a long way. But guys, listen, we've got 6 hot topics for you guys today that we're going to be breaking down. We also have some honorable mentions that we usually will tackle at the beginning of this episode. Some things that maybe didn't necessarily quite make the cut, but bring to your guys' attention that we think you probably should know as the week continues. But Stuart, did you happen to have an honorable mention at all or no?
Yeah. So this is one that I see not a lot of people are talking about. and it's with Kevin Feige and Marvel. Recently, he has actually stepped down from the head of Marvel
Mm,
Television on Disney Plus, and
yes,
so now he's only in charge of the movies. However, that doesn't mean he won't have a say when it comes to Marvel television shows. He still is in communication with the
absolutely.
guy who's now the new head of Marvel Television. So there is still going to be that perfect connection between the two. It's just it's just not going to be one person in charge of everything. And my assumption, a lot of people are like trying to say that he was fired, but I don't think so. I think he just chose to step down because once he actually like stepped up and saw like, you know, how challenging it was to kind of be, you know, the main person in charge of everything. I think he just realized he spread himself too thin and he needed someone else to be in charge of the TV world.
Yeah, I did read that. We actually have that story up on our Facebook page if you guys haven't checked it out. Brad Winderbaum is his name. He's going to be seen overseeing Marvel Studios Disney Plus shows. I got to say, honestly, Stuart, when I first saw the news, that was my first reaction. Oh shit, what's happening over at Disney? Did Kevin Feige get fired? Like, what's going on? Bob Chapek is burning Disney down. What's happening? But when you actually look at it a little bit more and you just kind of realize just how expansive the MCU has certainly gotten over the past 2 years, especially after Endgame. The fact that we still have Kevin Feige, make no mistake, he's certainly still the hierarchy. But now you realize with just everything that Marvel is currently doing when it comes to movies, television shows. I mean, I almost lost track about how many projects that they certainly have just in this year and maybe even next year alone. So you're absolutely right. The idea of maybe Kevin Feige being spread a little bit too thin, you certainly need somebody that, which mind you, Brad, the guy that is overtaking, he does have experience with the MCU. He's been with Marvel Studios for quite some time. So this is certainly a promotion from him. But you definitely need somebody like a Kevin Feige to have somebody in like a second in command to kind of, you know, if you a certain work that you can't do for yourself, certainly spread the wealth in making sure that everything is kind of taken care of. So we'll see how the MCU on Disney Plus shows certainly do. They've been doing a fantastic job so far, but with somebody else now in charge when it comes to that side, we'll see if the success certainly continues when it comes to Disney Plus. Are you expecting it to, Stuart?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, the main thing is that it sounds like they're still in communication with each other, so it's
Yeah.
not going to be like a Jeff Loeb situation where,
Mhm.
like, from what I hear, the TV side of things, they never wanted to communicate with the movie side of things, and that's why you would get like a lot of kind of disconnect between the television shows and the movies, and it's why like kind of like the later seasons of Agents of Shield just decided not even to try to tie into Avengers anymore because they realized it was going to be impossible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's a great honorable mention, guys. So yeah, in case you guys were wondering, there is somebody else in charge over at Disney Plus for the MCU shows going forward right now. And a couple another honorable mention I'll go ahead and pull up that I found rather fascinating in here, Stuart. You know, Yahoo.com had a fascinating article from the director of Thor 2, which this guy, you know, The Dark World, he also did Terminator Genesis or Genesis. Alan Taylor, he recently spoke with The Hollywood Reporter, and he actually mentioned the idea that the such negative backlash that he wind up getting from Thor 2, along with Terminator Genesis, he said, I had lost the will to make movies, he said. He says, I lost the will to live as a director, and I'm not blaming any person for that. The process was not good for me, so I came out of it having to rediscover the joy of filmmaking. You know, I find that so fascinating here, man, because one, because we bash Thor the Dark World any chance that we get. But then the realization that, you know, there are humans behind the screen, right? Like there are people that really work their ass off to try and make great movies. I don't think anybody goes out there with the intention of trying to make a crappy movie for people to watch, right? But when the fan base or whatever the case may be really gets a hold of a movie that they're negative about, they don't really let up too much. They don't really let up too much. So the idea that this guy, Alan Taylor, has had to sit back all these years and deal with the punches that have come with Terminator Genesis and Thor 2, I was shocked to honestly hear this. I didn't know it certainly had that sort of that type of effect on him, that he sort of lost the will to make movies here, or you know, or be a director in that sense. I mean, clearly he feels like he's probably has rebounded as he's gotten other things on his schedule, on his docket for him to do. But I just thought that was pretty interesting for him to come out and say, just based off of all the negativity that's usually surrounding that movie. You know what I mean? I think you're muted.
My bad. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think like one issue is the way like some people will go about, critiquing a film, and most people can handle it maturely by just saying, this is what I didn't like about it, this is what I liked about it. But there are those toxic people out there that go after the writers and directors themselves and make them feel like terrible people for just doing a job and making a movie, even though not only is that wrong regardless, but the other thing on top of that is you don't know really when it comes to Hollywood how much control the director actually had over his movie. Same with the writers. There may have been some things that they were forced to put in that, kind of are what ruined the movie as a whole. And even if that's not the case, it's still, regardless of whatever, it's still wrong to attack people personally. And it may not have been that. It may just be like some directors, like, I know, even though I love Kevin Smith a lot, I know that he's definitely one of them. Some directors just cannot take criticism, and it's it becomes like harder for them to work on other projects just because we're all different as people. But yeah, it is one of those things where I feel like, as a director, when you make those missteps, you should be careful not to let like the negative critique get to you, and be able to, step above it and learn from it more than anything else. Ignore the toxic people that are going after you personally, because clearly they don't actually know what it takes to actually make a movie or anything themselves. But try to listen to the criticism that actually does seem legit, and then try to, learn from it in the future.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But I thought that was a pretty interesting article that Yahoo wind up throwing up this week. Also, Brie Larson has confirmed that Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels, is currently filming. So that movie is currently underway also. So that should be pretty exciting. I'm eager to see just all the characters that are going to be encompassing this film. Teyana Paris, I believe, from WandaVision is going to be back in there. I believe the Aman Vellani, who's playing Miss Marvel, is going to be in the movie. Also, of course, Captain Marvel herself as well. So should be interesting. I'm kind of wondering if the Blue Marvel is going to be in here from Marvel Comics. We did hear that. I think if we recall back in the WandaVision, Teyana Paris's character, was it Monica? I believe she mentioned the idea. She had like an engineer friend or something like that. I'm kind of curious. I've always been curious if it was in fact Blue Marvel. I know there were some theories going around that maybe it was like Reed Richards or something. I think it would be cool. I mean, if it's called The Marvels, why not throw them in there? We'll see if it winds up happening. And then last but not least, the Ahsoka series for Star Wars apparently is looking for a live action Sabine Wren at this point in time, which I'm really excited for. I honestly thought that when we saw what was it, Sasha Banks in The Mandalorian, I thought for a second there that she was going to be playing Sabine Wren, but they quickly corrected us on that when it comes to The Mandalorian. But I'm excited to see a Sabine Wren come to life for the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, I'm excited that we get to see her, and I'm excited that it's clearly she's got to be playing like at least a decent part in like a part of the show, because otherwise they wouldn't have announced it if it was just going to be like kind of a quick cameo. I feel like that's something they would have tried to keep under the rug.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that I believe we saw them both together was at the end of Star Wars Rebels in the finale. I believe one of the post-credit scenes, or one of the credit scenes towards the end, actually showed Ahsoka along with Sabine looking for Ezra or trying to hunt him down. So they clearly are working together. So yeah, they both might have a pivotal role to certainly play in this upcoming Ahsoka series. And Rosario Dawson just absolutely killed it in The Mandalorian as Ahsoka. Just great casting choice.
I think it'll be funny, how many people are going to watch this that have never seen Star Wars Rebels, and then just kind of like telling people that information as they're watching it. Like, yeah, this is a sequel to a cartoon series.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, do yourselves a favor and certainly check it out. Heck, I would recommend the Clone Wars, and I would certainly recommend Rebels for you guys to certainly catch up and things like that. But all right, Stuart.
Random question before we start the show. Have you checked out the Bad Batch yet?
I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I've kind of fallen off. I really enjoyed the first episode, though. I really did. I was not expecting that type of tone from the series itself, so it really kind of surprised me. It is during a very interesting time period in Star Wars of the Galactic Empires. They're in the process of rising. So to kind of see how the Bad Batch fits into that, I thought that they've actually introduced them really nicely into the lore, and they have a really nice pocket that they're kind of exploring. So it's piqued my interest, but I haven't had the opportunity to watch the entire season. Have you?
Yeah, it just finished up, and I highly recommend checking it out. It was definitely a really fun series. Had some really cool, epic and dark episodes, and some
Mhm.
really cool Star Wars Rebels tie-ins as well. There's like one episode, or there's one two-parter in the show in particular that I don't want to spoil.
Well, I
Um,
remember seeing photos of like Hera pop up or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. You get to see her as a child in one episode.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, so far, so far this first season I thought was really good, and I love it because there was one comparison I heard, and I have to say I completely agree. They're basically like the Ninja Turtles of the Star Wars universe.
I love it. I love it. I never heard that comparison before, but just based off what I've seen, yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. All right, guys. I believe with that out of the way, we will be moving on to our main topics for the day. So, Stuart, are you ready to go ahead and tackle these with me, man?
Always.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys. First topic up actually comes to us from the world of Sonic, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, it took me forever to finally be able to sit down and watch the very first Sonic movie. It's something that I kind of just overlooked and didn't really give two thoughts about. The trailers were okay, but for me, it certainly wasn't a movie that I was super enthused about kind of going into, but I eventually caved. I can't remember if it was on like Amazon Prime for free or Hulu. Whenever it became available on a streaming service, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna sit down and check out this movie. And lo and behold, I actually really enjoyed it. I actually thought it was a pretty cute movie, and it handled itself relatively well. I mean, I love the voice of Sonic. The story I thought was pretty fun. James Marsden certainly comes through and delivers, and Jim Carrey as Robotnik I thought was perfect. Not too over the top, still kind of reeled it in from time to time, which I really did appreciate. But it actually had a pretty solid story, one that I certainly appreciated. So when they announced the idea of a Sonic 2, I'm here for it now. It took me some time to eventually get around to it. I was kind of surprised that we were getting ourselves a sequel until I watched the movie itself. And once I watched it, I'm here for a sequel, ladies and gentlemen. So it's been some time. We do know that the movie has in fact been filming, if it hasn't already wrapped, if I'm not mistaken. But we actually have our first sort of announcement in regards to casting for some of the upcoming characters in Sonic 2, specifically the character Knuckles. And I don't know if anybody saw this coming, but this week they officially announced who's going to be voicing Knuckles for the upcoming Sonic sequel, and it's none other than Idris Elba himself. What is going on with this sequel, Stuart? Let's go ahead and dive into this, man, because I was not expecting this. Like, when I think of Knuckles, that's definitely not the voice I expect coming out of Knuckles' mouth at all. But you know what? I had so much fun with the first Sonic. If they want to go be this outlandish and do something this crazy, I'm kind of here for it. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This is from Deadline.com. It says Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Idris Elba to play Knuckles. This just in, but Suicide Squad star Idris Elba is joining Paramount Sonic the Hedgehog 2, voicing the famed character of Knuckles. Knuckles is a red, what is that? Echidna?
Echidna. I think that's how it's pronounced. I think.
You're probably right. Is a red echidna, and he's the guardian of the Master Emerald in the video games. He's also known to be a hot-headed and a fighter. Elba joins previously announced James Marsden, Ben Schwartz, Tika Sumpter, Natasha Rothwell, Adam Pawley, Shamar Moore, and Jim Carrey. It does say that Jeff Fowler is returning to direct on the sequel after delivering a pre-pandemic blockbuster for Paramount with the first 2020 film, which grossed close to $320 million. I had absolutely no idea about that. But yeah, it says that Elba is a 5-time Emmy nominee, won a Golden Globe back in 2012 for Best Actor. And he even made it official on his Instagram page himself. So even Idris posted this photo of Knuckles to go ahead and confirm that he in fact will be playing it. So no, this is not a rumor, ladies and gentlemen. Idris Elba will in fact be playing Knuckles here. Stuart, let me ask you, maybe you're the bigger Sonic fan than I am. I did what growing up as a kid when it came to Sega. I definitely played Sonic 1, definitely played Sonic 2. Sonic 3, I started kind of falling off on, my friend. So when it comes to the Knuckles character, don't know necessarily too much about him outside of he looks badass every time I look at him. Was not expecting Idris. You hear this officially though. What's your thoughts on this, man?
First of all, I'm super offended that you said you fell off of Sonic 3 because
I
that is like
did.
my favorite Sonic game.
I'm sorry, man.
Like specifically when you combine it with Sonic and Knuckles, so you got Sonic 3 and Knuckles because it's a game so intense you have to have two games to play it.
I love it.
Anyways, yeah, no, I freaking love Idris Elba as an actor, and I think he can do comedy really well, as we saw in both Suicide Squad and in Hobbs and Shaw. So I think him voicing a character like Knuckles will actually work for him. Would it have been my first choice? Maybe not. But I could totally see him pulling it off really well, depending on how they play Knuckles in this movie. Me, I'm hoping that they go for like an overly serious, and therefore that's what makes him funny, is that he thinks he's like really serious type of a character. And yeah, I'm thinking he's going to be like an antagonist in this movie, because that's kind of Knuckles' shtick, is that he constantly gets tricked into, working for Dr. Robotnik, and like Dr. Robotnik will constantly lie to him, and it works all the time. So I'd love to see that play out in this movie. But yeah, overall, I think this is really cool news overall.
Yeah, and when you put into perspective like that about how Knuckles is when it comes to the video game, I can kind of see Idris maybe playing up that role, or at least like really being able to get like getting the most out of that particular character, just with his type of personality and things like that. So, yeah, I was not expecting this whatsoever, but I'm actually here for it. I think for me, it just continues to show just how flexible, how talented Idris is to be able to just really plop him down in almost any genre that you want at this particular point in time. And the guy's certainly going to deliver. I absolutely loved him in the Suicide Squad. And there is just something great about his voice that I think just resonates with all of us. So I think the idea of just picturing his voice when it comes to a character like Knuckles, if he does kind of play that antagonistic role, if you will, I can kind of see Idris kind of nailing this pretty well. Again, similar to you, maybe not necessarily my first choice, but I didn't know that I wanted Idris Elba as Knuckles until they actually made the announcement, and now I just can't think of anything else at this point. So we'll see. I'm hoping that we get ourselves a trailer. I don't know how soon we'll get a trailer, or when this movie is even supposed to be dropping, but I think right now this is probably one of the aspects of this sequel that I'm really most anticipated about now, is just getting the opportunity to see Idris perform as Knuckles. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned this every time we bring up Sonic the Hedgehog, but I'm really hoping for the Chaos Emeralds, because I really want to see, Super Sonic in live action. It'll be the closest thing to like a Dragon Ball Z movie we'll get.
I love it. I love it. So we'll definitely see what happens here, man. But I'm sure this probably surprised many of you guys here. Idris Elba going to be playing Knuckles for the upcoming Sonic. What do you guys think in regards to it? Do you think just based off of Knuckles' personality from the video game, does Idris sort of fit that role for you, or is this completely coming out of left field? I definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat, or even the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Stuart. And with that out of the way, we will go ahead and move on to our next topic for the day. And this one actually is in the world of Disney Plus, or just Disney in general. I didn't get the opportunity to check out the first Cruella movie. Have you had the opportunity to check it out, Stuart?
Yes. And I actually, you're muted.
Am I?
Oh no. I guess there was like a weird disconnect there for a second. But
what did
yeah,
you think about it?
I thought it was all right overall. It's weird because like I think like one thing that worked about it was its standalone aspect. The idea that, even though it's Cruella, it's not necessarily tied to 101 Dalmatian. And I think what kind of ruined that was the very end, when they tried to tie it into 101 Dalmatians. But then like when you kind of look into the factors that they've already introduced in the movie, and then they try to tell you that the events of 101 Dalmatian will happen after this movie, it actually makes zero sense. So I think if the idea is that the sequel is going to be Cruella and we continue just to follow her, I think that could rectify the ending of the first movie. Yeah, but overall, I thought the movie was pretty decent. It was very, very well filmed. So even if you didn't think the writing was very good, from a directing standpoint, I thought it was actually really fantastic.
It is definitely a movie that's on my docket. It's definitely one that I certainly want to go ahead and check out because I absolutely love Emma Stone. So I heard some really great things in regards to just her performance as Cruella. And you know what, Stuart? Enough people certainly loved the movie or enjoyed it enough to where Cruella is now getting itself a sequel, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and dive into this article here, Stuart, because this comes to us from Deadline as well, that lets us know that Emma Stone herself is Stone locks down a deal for an upcoming Cruella sequel. So we are, in fact, going to be getting a part 2 to this movie. It says exclusive Oscar winner Emma Stone has closed a deal to star in the sequel to Cruella in what is a very good sign for Disney as it secures talent in the wake of some criticism of its theatrical Disney Plus premium model. Cruella, due to the pandemic, was released in theaters and on Disney Plus, earning more than $222 million in worldwide ticket sales. The release of Cruella 2 is ways off, and it's not certain at this time whether the movie will be pure theatrical release or, like its predecessor, released simultaneously in homes. Emma Stone's deal for Cruella 2, I hear, mutually benefits both sides, especially at a time when Disney is still assessing the dynamic window model for its events titles. It says that executive chairman Patrick Weitzel had this to say about the agency's client Stone and her Cruella 2 deal. So it says, while the media landscape has been disrupted in a meaningful way for all distributors, the creative partners cannot be left on the sidelines to carry a disproportionate amount of the downside without the potential for upside. This agreement demonstrates that there can be equitable path forward that protects artists and aligns studios' interests with talent. We are proud to work alongside Emma and Disney and appreciate the studio's willingness to recognize her contributions as a creative partner. We are hopeful that this will open the door for more members of the creative community to participate in the success of new platforms. It's amazing to me, Stuart, just a side note, it is amazing to me that they are willing to kind of now renegotiate, do new deals for their upcoming stars, but not give Scarlett Johansson the time of day to actually renegotiate a deal herself. So it's a little bit of a bummer there. But you know what? At least maybe they're recognizing that the new path towards how movies are going to be distributed. Now they have to kind of reassess how they're going to be taking care of their talent going forward. I read an article recently that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they renegotiated the deal with him for Jungle Cruise. It seems as though they're doing the same thing when it comes to Emma Stone for her upcoming Cruella sequel. Poor Scarlett Johansson can't get a phone call back, man, from Disney, which is a little bit of a bummer to hear that. But I will say this, Stuart, you mentioned the idea that, the first Cruella movie may not necessarily have been, say, like a true remake of 101 Dalmatians. I am wondering if that's what this sequel is going to be now, if this is going to be more of a live action remake of that particular famous Disney film, because, Disney's been doing that quite some time lately in regards to remaking a lot of their big animated films from back in the day. So I do wonder if, we got Cruella's story here. Like you mentioned, the idea that maybe the ending of that movie might have connected, or they tried to maybe connect it to 101 Dalmatians. Maybe that's what the Cruella sequel might actually find itself being, is a more of a remake of that traditional cartoon or that animated movie. But we'll definitely see. I'm a big fan of Emma Stone. I hear great things about her performance in here. So I'll definitely be open to a sequel for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to it because the idea of a Cruella movie to me in general didn't sound that interesting, but then I thought they actually did a really good job with the movie. So I definitely don't want to have any quick judgments about, them making a sequel, because it could definitely surprise me without a doubt. And yeah, I think my one of my biggest complaints about the movie, there is another one, but if I go into it, I have to explain like the plot of the movie, and I don't want to. But one of the complaints was the fact that, they tried to both kind of have their cake and eat it too, in terms of the way they tie it into 101 Dalmatians. Like, they really want you to make sure that this isn't the same universe as the animated movie, because like Cruella just seems like a very different person, and her backstory seems very different in this than it did in that movie. But then at the very end, it was just kind of weird the way they forced it to tie into the movie, but then the way they forced it to tie into the movie Okay, this isn't a big spoiler, so I don't think people will be mad. Basically, we see that Cruella was the one who gave the dog to both the two main characters in the
Oh, and
original
the
101
original.
Dalmatian.
Hmm.
And it just would make zero sense if, like, you know, they try to go with 101 Dalmatians for the sequel and have it be like years later she revisits them and now their dogs are bigger and now she decides, oh, I want to make a fur coat out of them. That would make like zero sense. So hopefully this sequel like goes into a much different direction. And if they do kind of a telling of 101 Dalmatians, I am very curious how they pull that off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the benefit to having a sequel now is now that you've established Cruella as a character, you probably could really go any route that they certainly want to, right? I mean, they did that with Maleficent and Angelina Jolie, giving her a sequel and maybe having more of an original take or original story for them to tackle. So it definitely feels as though they can certainly have some fun with a Cruella too, if that's the route that they wanted to go. And the fact that Emma Stone, I mean, even the guy mentions when they were, putting together the deal, just maybe how hands-on Emma Stone really is with the character or how fond of the franchise that she certainly is. So I'm really expecting Emma Stone to certainly have some voice, whether that be in the story or just how the character is certainly handled moving forward. Again, top tier actor, if you ask me. So anytime she does anything, I certainly think it warrants our attention, to say the least. But we'll see. Do you know if is Cruella available now for free on Disney Plus, or is it still part of the premiere access? I gotta think it's free now, right? Because I thought it was only for like 30 days, but maybe I'm wrong. Or
I'm
maybe
not
that
sure.
I can't remember how they do their premium access. Like, I do wonder if they did it for 30 days on Disney Plus, and then maybe after the 30 days, I'm curious if it went to any other streaming service and will eventually be back to Disney Plus. If you guys know what the situation of Cruella is on Disney Plus right now, let me know.
It
Because if it is
is not
available to watch.
currently. It is currently not available, but it will be coming to Disney Plus on August 27th.
Oh, it's right around the corner. Okay, I might, you know what? I
Yeah.
might check it out. I might check it out when it winds up dropping. So yeah, guys, if you've had the opportunity to check out Cruella 2, what did you guys think of it? Certainly go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. And Nathan Moore says, she got to renegotiate her contract the same with Dwayne Johnson. Scarlett did not. Yeah, that's one of the things that we certainly talked about here. It is fascinating. Again, I think it was Variety that reported Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson renegotiated his deal for Jungle Cruise, which is one of the reasons why I think even The Rock came out and said, no, I will not be suing Disney. It's because they actually called you and spoke with you and, gave you the deal that you certainly wanted to. So I think it just speaks volumes about some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to Hollywood, that they clearly still don't necessarily look at certain actors as equals, if you will, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll see it. But it seems as though them reaching out to Emma Stone here, figuring something out for her to possibly come back or to come back for a Cruella 2. Maybe they're realizing the error of their ways and they're, switching courses here. So we'll definitely see. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but we'll certainly keep you guys updated on any Cruella 2 news as it winds up dropping.
It seems like Disney wants to kind of fix their mistake with other actors, but they don't want to fix it with Scarlett Johansson, because then that admits that they don't want to admit that they're in the wrong.
Yeah, they fucked up and they don't want to admit it, which is a shame. I mean, considering the fact that she just helped you build 10 years of the MCU and help average out every freaking movie to be about $1 billion in the box office 10 years deep. I mean, goodness, the fact that she's an original Avengers member herself, let's just treat her like shit. Why not, right? Fucking Hollywood, guys. Unbelievable. Anyway, moving on to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen, we will transition over to some television news as the world of Netflix continues to grow. We've been talking about this upcoming topic for quite some time. Wednesday Addams is in fact getting herself a Netflix series. If you guys were big fans of the Addams family, Wednesday Addams Adventures will be continuing in her own live action Netflix series, brought to us by none other than Tim Burton himself. A couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month or so back, we wind up getting an announcement as to who's going to be playing Wednesday Adam for this series. And the casting continues, ladies and gentlemen, as the Netflix series itself has found it's Morticia Addams, the mother of Wednesday Addams. And if you ask me, Stuart, I think this is incredible casting choice, to certainly say the least. So let's go ahead and dive into this and learn a little bit more about this upcoming Netflix series and exactly who's going to be playing Morticia Addams. And again, this comes to us from Variety. Wednesday Addams Netflix series cast Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia, which I absolutely love here. It says Catherine Zeta-Jones will play Morticia in the upcoming Wednesday Addams series at Netflix. Zeta-Jones will appear in a guest starring role as the iconic Addams family's matriarch in the series titled Wednesday. She joins previously announced cast members as Jenna Ortega, who's going to be playing Wednesday Addams, and Luis Guzman. Ortega will star as Wednesday, while Guzman will play Gomez Addams, Morticia's husband. It says Wednesday, which received an 8-episode order at Netflix in February, is described as a supernaturally infused mystery charting Wednesday's Addams' years as a student at Nevermore Academy. Wednesday's attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwart a monstrous killing spree that has terrorized the local town, and solve the supernatural mystery that embroiled her parents 25 years ago, all while navigating her new and very tangled relationship at Nevermore. It says Zeta-Jones is the latest actress to offer a live-action rendition of Morticia. Carolyn Jones played the character first in the 1960s Addams Family TV show, and then, of course, most notably known, Angelica Houston, perhaps most famously played her in 2 Addams Family films in the 90s. And it also says Charlize Theron voiced her in the 2019 animated film, which I had no idea, honestly. So yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones actually joins a very popular and big line of fantastic women that have in fact portrayed Morticia Addams in the past. But yeah, I absolutely remember growing up with Angelica Houston as my Morticia Addams, to say the least. But I think this is a great casting choice here, Stuart. What are some of your thoughts in regards to it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good casting for the most part. I honestly have not seen a majority of her films, but I have seen a few of them, so I know that she is definitely really talented. I don't, I'm afraid to say this because it may sound mean, but I swear I do not mean this in a negative way at all. She definitely looks the part in terms of kind of like facial structure, and I swear I do not mean that in a negative way. I mean, she is extremely beautiful, so I hope that doesn't come off as mean, but like, she's definitely someone where I could see, when you put on, you know, the pale makeup, I could see her looking the role perfectly.
Oh yeah, no, I don't find anything. I don't see why that would be offensive at all. But yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. When I see her, and I just think of, yeah, put on the makeup, put on the long dark dress. If there's anybody that can sort of carry the swag of Morticia Addams, I definitely do think it's Catherine Zeta-Jones. She always holds herself in such high standards and things like that. So I think this is going to be a beautiful casting choice for her, to say the least. So I'm eager. I haven't seen her in a movie in quite some time. It's been a minute, but anything that I've absolutely seen her in, I was always a big fan of. And she's married to Michael Douglas also, so it's a very big power couple, I feel like, in Hollywood. So to have Catherine Zeta-Jones, I don't know what her other projects are that she's currently working on, or if she is currently in anything at all, but she always certainly delivers. And I think being able to see somebody like Catherine Zeta-Jones playing opposite of Luis Guzman feels like an odd pairing, an odd coupling. But I always kind of felt that when I saw Gomez and Morticia on screen together. But this should be fun. This should be a really fun opportunity here. And I'm kind of curious to see like who else they wind up bringing in the cast. Like, I know it says that it's only a guest starring role, but I am wondering if we're going to get her little brother in here also at some point in time. Like, are we going to get like a cousin Uncle Fester? Like, I wonder if they're all going to have some sort of cameos in this movie or in this series also. Do you think we can kind of count on them to pop up from time to time?
I would assume so, but if the mother role is going to be nothing but a guest starring role, guest star. I'm wondering if like the show like maybe doesn't even take place at the mansion for like the majority of it. You know, like either we follow her at a boarding school or we just follow her on an adventure that's completely separate from the family. Because you'd think that it would still be kind of a starring role, but if it's only guest star, then I assume the family will just be reduced to cameos. Like I still think we're going to see everyone, but I don't think they're going to be playing major roles if that's the case.
Yeah, I can see that. I would be able to easily see them maybe popping up in like the first episode, because the article does state the idea here. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull it back up here. It does say that she's going to actually be in Nevermore Academy. So she will, in fact, be in school attempting to solve a mystery that's certainly going on there. So if anything, maybe they wind up having a guest starring role in the first episode, you know, the mom, dad, maybe family in general, maybe seeing her off. I mean, it is 8 episodes. So, you know, maybe during those 8 episodes, we wind up getting a mystery in between all that. And who knows, maybe we get ourselves a FaceTime call. Maybe they pop up for a quick visit at school to kind of see what's going on. But yeah, when you say guest star, I'm thinking maybe like 2 episodes out of the entire series sort of thing. That's just an assumption though.
Yeah, I would agree. Like probably at the very beginning or both the beginning and at the very end of the series, or I could just see it kind of being like one of those in the middle of the season things where it's like a special school event where kids' families come to visit them or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Like, just give me a scene of Gomez and Morticia interacting with her teachers or something like that for the day or something like that for Parents' Day. I think that would be pretty funny to watch. But listen, I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. Glad that she's certainly getting some shine, even if it is just in a guest starring role. But Wednesday Addams, the Netflix series, continues to build itself up, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted as we get more information, Stuart. And with that out of the way, guys, we will be moving on to our next topic. And I gotta say, I feel like the next 2 out of 3, maybe the next 3 topics that we get into should be rather fun to definitely discuss, Stuart. When it comes to CW, we do know that they currently had a couple of television shows in the works. One of those shows that was gaining a lot of recognition, a lot of notice, was that of the Powerpuff Girls. Some people asking, why do we even need a live action Powerpuff Girls? Some people really hyped about it. We wind up seeing a bunch of set photos over the past several months while filming for the Powerpuff Girls pilot was in full swing. Unfortunately, when it comes to the CW, they decided not to necessarily pick up the Powerpuff Girls show and actually give them the opportunity to retool and rework the pilot into a series that they certainly would be comfortable with airing. So as of right now, there is no Powerpuff Girls set to be on the CW. They do plan on refilming the pilot. We wholeheartedly expected the entire cast for Powerpuff Girls to certainly come back, led by none other than Chloe Bennet herself. Well, things have certainly changed, and things have certainly taken a different direction. Not quite sure if the CW certainly saw this coming whatsoever, but ladies and gentlemen, Chloe Bennet officially is out of Powerpuff Girls, Stuart. Let's go ahead and break this down. This article comes to us from, where's this one from? Variety. Variety.com talks a little bit about it here this week. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Powerpuff Girls CW pilot star Chloe Bennet exits the project. This is an exclusive. And Stuart, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, CW, it's a shame you wasted so much money and time on this Powerpuff Girls, you know, series when we could have easily gotten ourselves a Painkiller spinoff. You know, we've got some great, amazing talent that would love to come back and reprise their roles in a very great and luscious world of Black Lightning that they've created. But no, we're going to continue to work on Powerpuff Girls. Karma's a bitch, Stuart. Karma's a bitch. Here's Variety.com saying that, yeah, Chloe Bennet has in fact exited the project. It says she stepped down as one of the 3 leads in the live action CW pilot based on the Powerpuff Girls. Bennett was set to star as Blossom in the pilot, which is currently titled Powerpuff. The show was originally in contention during pilot season earlier this year for a potential fall air date, but the CW made the decision to redevelop and reshoot it instead, as the CW chairman and CEO called the first pilot a miss. It says, according to an individual with knowledge of the situation, Studio Warner Brothers wanted to extend Bennett's option as they reworked the pilot, but scheduling conflicts forced her to exit instead. Casting for a new 3rd Powerpuff Girl will begin this fall. So they're pretty much, I don't want to say starting over from scratch, but not only do they have to redevelop and reshoot it, they also now have to find themselves a new lead, if you will, for this show. It does say that Dove Cameron remains attached to the show as Bubbles, while Yana Perrault is still attached to play Buttercup. Other cast members in the original pilot include Donald Faison, Nichols Padani, and they're all currently ongoing for them to return as well. So, yeah, scheduling conflicts is what they're certainly saying, that they wanted to extend Bennett's option as they reworked the pilot, but unfortunately, other things have certainly come up for Chloe Bennet. So, listen, I feel like when it comes to this particular story, Stuart, there were probably some people that were naturally interested in the Powerpuff Girls coming live action, regardless of who was certainly going to be in the role. There were other people who maybe were only paying attention to Powerpuff Girls because of the fact that Chloe Bennet was certainly involved in this series. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Can you see me though?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay, sorry. My computer like just completely blacked out on me. Let me see if I can pull this back up.
Yeah, you were jittering a second ago, but now you seem to be working fine on my end anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't even see myself on the screen here. Stuart, if you can switch over the camera angle to you and talk a little bit about it, go ahead and give your thoughts, and then I'll give my thoughts here in a second while I try and work on this.
All right. Yeah, so I honestly, it's just common stuff that happens when it comes to TV pilots. I think like the 2 main factors as to why she left. Number one, just kind of being the scheduling conflict thing, because when you're not even sure if a show is going to take off, but you're still signed on to work on it for an entire season, what you're doing is you're basically booking your entire schedule for something that you may or may not be actually able to film. So it makes total sense for her because she's a much bigger actor than the other 2 that are going to be in this show as well. So it makes sense that she wouldn't want to completely have her schedule booked when there's other potential projects that she could be a part of out there. So yeah, I definitely don't blame her for leaving after, the uncertainty of where the show was going to go. And especially like you said, when reading the article, we still don't even know if the show itself is going to get picked up because they're trying again for a second pilot. So that doesn't even guarantee the second pilot's going to work out. So I think it was like the overall like major thing is just that it was going to conflict with her schedule for future projects. And if she had committed to this new schedule and she had turned down other projects for it, but then the show didn't get picked up, well, that's like a lot of money that she lost right there.
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I do think this was a great decision on her part. I mean, if they're still having to retool and redo everything, the fact that, who knows when this show was certainly going to have to be filmed or whenever they need to be back in front of the camera. So this easily could have allowed her to miss off a ton of different opportunities for her at some particular point in time. And, the life of an actor definitely calls like, I feel like you always got to be pushing for more stuff to have on your schedule, because the last thing you want is to just not have a job, not be able to do anything. So maybe something else kind of came up for Chloe Bennet. But yeah, Yeah, man, it unfortunately sucks because honestly, when it comes to this article, I was actually really looking forward to it, man. I was actually really looking forward to this series to kind of see what it was going to be all about. I didn't mind the cartoon series kind of growing up, but the idea of seeing how they were going to adapt it into live action kind of fascinated me, especially with the synopsis of the idea of, these kids growing up famous, being in front of the camera since they were a kid. Now that they're sort of, older adults and things like that, their life has certainly significantly changed. I definitely would like to kind of see how the Powerpuff Girls sort of handle that. Somebody that I usually listen to kind of compared it to like the Umbrella Academy, people that were superheroes sort of in their heyday. Now that they're older, kind of looking back at their life and just acknowledging it a little bit differently, sort of thing. So I do think storyline purposes, there might have been something there. So a little bit disappointing that this unfortunately didn't happen. But listen, I think now that Chloe Bennett has exited, and there are being some people that really might have only given this show an opportunity because it was in fact Chloe Bennett attached to this. I do wonder, like, is this even worth trying at this point, right? Like the pilot was a miss. Now you got to recast. That's not going to happen until the fall time. By the time the cameras start rolling again, is anybody really even going to care about the idea and the concept of a Powerpuff Girls coming to live action? Like, this doesn't scream like, for me, when I look at this now screams, okay, well, this series probably won't be hitting us until next fall schedule, and by that time I don't even know if anybody would really care so much. So we'll see. Again, either you wanted to watch the show because Chloe Bennett, or maybe you were just fascinated by the idea of Powerpuff Girls, even regardless of who the cast was. I think this is going to be a really tough sell for CW kind of going forward, but we'll see. We'll wind up seeing what happens here. One of the things that I will bring up, Stuart, because of the fact that they mention scheduling conflicts, one of the things that I've been seeing on Twitter a lot these days is the fact that the fan base just throws out a bunch of theories now. And one of the big theories that's going around is that maybe Chloe Bennett exited Powerpuff Girls because maybe, say, Marvel or Disney reached out to her, and maybe she's now going to be a part of the Secret Invasion television series that we're going to be getting with Marvel and Disney Plus. What do you think about that particular theory that's floating around? Any merit? Again, nobody has come out and confirmed that, but it is a theory that I'm finding Marvel fans have immediately sort of jumped on. What are your thoughts in regards to that, though?
That would be cool. I don't think that's the case, but honestly, I don't see any reason why Marvel would be against it, especially because, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., while obviously it doesn't have like the big fan base that you'll see when it comes to the Marvel movie side of things, it still did have a huge and dedicated fan base for sure. And so I think that there would be no harm in bringing her into Secret Invasion. All you would do is get the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans excited, and then those who haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as long as they introduce her correctly, no one's going to get confused by her being in the show. It's kind of like you just got to be smart about how you bring her into the show and try not to make it so it's like you have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get her character.
No, I definitely get you. Jonathan, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. He says, I exited this series the moment I heard about it. Fond memories of the cartoon, but not interested in the live action. Yeah, not everybody's going to be interested in it. But yeah, I do remember Jonathan definitely talking about Powerpuff Girls from time to time. We always have some great conversations. But who would say? Nathan Moore says, let's be honest, she knew it was trash and bolted. I mean, who knows, man? Maybe the first time they took her up on the the stunt harness wires, and she just thought to herself, like, why am I even in this outfit? Why am I even on this show to begin with? And maybe she saw an opening and was like, you know what, I'm kind of busy now, guys. I got other things that are kind of interesting to me. Shout out also to Kareem for certainly joining us. Thank you for coming through, man. But yeah, I will say this in regards to the theory. Stuart, we've talked about this before. Anytime that we've talked about Secret Invasion, a part of me kind of wishes we had Indy on here also to kind of give his thoughts in regards to it. But, one of the things that I've always said is, if there is any opportunity for Marvel to pull the trigger on bringing anybody back from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Secret Invasion is definitely that opportunity. It absolutely is. But the other thing that I always tend to remember here is that when it comes to Marvel, they have no problem giving the middle finger to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans.
Mhm.
Okay, there have been plenty of years where people have gotten their expectations way above where they certainly should be. You know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans have always wanted it to be truly connected to the MCU. The MCU almost refuses to even acknowledge it, with the exception of like the Jarvis cameo that we wind up getting inside of Endgame. So, as much as we talk about wanting to see Chloe Bennet as Daisy, as Quake in Secret Invasion, because in the Secret Invasion comic books, she's a big part of Nick Fury's Secret Warriors crew that he winds up sort of pulling together. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, because Quake in the comic books belongs in that story. Now, we know when it comes to the MCU, they clearly take their own liberties. So while we have been hoping that Chloe Bennet will come through and be in Secret Invasion, I just want to tell Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans out there, let's pump the brakes, guys, on the expectations, because when this news dropped that she had scheduling conflicts, damn if my Twitter did not explode with like, does this mean she's going to Secret Invasion? I bet this means she's going to Secret Invasion. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful, but let's lower our expectations, because Marvel in the past has done nothing to warrant that sort of expectation from them, especially if you're an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. They love effing you guys over. So let's pump the brakes. Let's be hopeful, but let's not expect that to certainly happen. I definitely hope it is, though. To be honest with you, Stuart, I do hope that it is, but I'm not expecting it at all.
And something that could back up that theory. I mentioned a few weeks ago how James Gunn on Twitter had no problem in like posting that he doesn't think that the Marvel television shows are canon to the movies. And even though like James Gunn isn't like a higher up at Marvel, he still does work with Marvel, and he works very closely with Kevin Feige. So to me, my theory has always been it's kind of the same thing with a lot of quote unquote leaks that you see online. I don't think that was an accident. I think like he was asked to do that by either Kevin Feige or by Marvel in general, just because it would have been an easy way to get the fan reaction, but also be able to say that it's not an official statement. So I think that's what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to see how fans reacted to that comment, and if they didn't like that comment, then they would know that that's a sign that they should maybe put some, implement some elements from the Marvel television side of things into the movies.
Oh, so you think that was like just a ploy, like a testing to kind of see how
Exactly.
people were? Oh, see, yeah, I just looked at it as another knife into the body of of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, and then just turn it just a little bit more, just to be like, look, guys, it's not happening. So just stop thinking about it. I don't know why I have fun with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans on the show. Not like I didn't watch the show myself, I did, but eventually I just kind of fell off. For me, I was just so disappointed that the MCU just didn't recognize it for such a long time. And for me, I just kind of I fell off after like the Inhumans series that they wind up having, which they probably did much better than even the Inhumans show itself. But I eventually did wind up falling off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But hopefully, guys, I want Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans to finally rejoice and have, be redeemed after all these years. So I definitely would love to see Daisy pop up in Secret Invasion. Whether or not this is what's keeping her away from Powerpuff Girls, we'll definitely see, guys, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted. So we kind of want to know what you guys think. Do you think Chloe Bennet just bolted because of the fact that she saw that this show was going absolutely nowhere and wanted to go ahead and team up with Marvel now for a potential Secret Invasion? Again, that's just all theory, but we definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below.
One last thing I do want to say about this, because you mentioned earlier that this may have like lost a lot of people's interest now that she's dropped the project. I do think that there is still some interest because they got Donald Faison in this show. Mm-hmm. But I think the moment that he decides to leave, so if that ends up happening because of more scheduling conflicts, I think that will be when officially you should just probably give up the show, because at that point I think like any interest a lot of people had will have gone away.
You might be right. You might be right. So yeah, we'll see how many other people continue to be attached to this project. We'll definitely keep you posted with any other Powerpuff Girls news as it comes through. All right, Stuart. And with that out of the way, we will go ahead and dabble a little bit in the world of Marvel. Speaking of Secret Invasion, there. But this storyline actually comes to us in regards to the Eternals. It looks as though the director Chloe Zhao, along with the actress Gemma Chan, who's going to be playing Cersei, I believe, in this movie, recently came out and talked about the idea that the Eternals character will make viewers rethink what it means to be heroic. I'm super excited for this upcoming movie. I truly am. I do think that it's going to be a rather unique film by the MCU here, especially bringing somebody in like Chloe Zhao to go ahead and be the director of this. So I have always been interested to see how they're going to plug in these Eternal characters, and it seems as though they have a pretty unique way about certainly going about it. So let's go ahead and dive into this article, Stuart, because I am fascinated to pick your brain in regards by what she means by this. So this actually comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Again, Chloe Zhao says Gemma Chan's Eternals character will make viewers rethink what it means to be heroic. It says the director and star break down how Cersei, one of the film's immortal cosmic beings, will open up the MCU to a new kind of hero and what it was like working opposite co-star Richard Madden on their characters' love story. So it says Eternals director Chloe Zhao and Cersei actress Gemma Chan are promising that the upcoming Marvel film female hero and empath will invite audiences to reevaluate their expectations around superheroes. Speaking to Vogue UK, Zhao and Chan both alluded to Cersei, one of the ensemble's million-year-old cosmic beings, as a new imagining of the Marvel superhero, with Zhao telling the magazine that it has been a personal passion to create a nuanced female superhero, especially one that is rarely seen in this genre, while describing Chan not only as a great actress who is both intelligent and brave. The director said that both of them shared in this desire to imagine a female hero in this way. It says Gemma was very interested in this idea as well and took on the challenge. She brought a beautiful sense of gentleness, compassion, and vulnerability to Cersei that I believe will invite viewers to rethink what it means to be heroic. Chan said she never really anticipated returning to the MCU following her role as Minerva in 2018's Captain Marvel, something she compounded on in the previous interview with the Hollywood Reporter. But it says, but her MCU return, the actress teased that her character Cersei, viewers would be ready for something outside of what we've come to expect from cinematic heroes. She's not necessarily the best fighter. She doesn't have the most obviously impressive powers. The main thing is she's an empath. She has a connection with humans and with the world and Earth. That is her strength. So I leaned into that. I find that rather interesting in here, Stuart, in regards to how they tackle this. If anything, I will say this isn't the first time that we've seen an empath in the MCU. If we recall from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I believe Mantis is an empath as well. So we've kind of seen how she's been able to utilize some of her abilities and things like that. But I almost feel like I am kind of curious if Cersei herself will be using those empath abilities completely differently. I mean, the idea of this not being those, big bombastic power set that you get to see that looks all flashy and dynamic on screen, probably a very much more subtle ability of hers that she's going to be using. What do you think about this when Chloe and Gemma express how Cersei's powers work and how it might reinvent the idea of how we look at superheroes or female superheroes in general? What do you think about this article? I think you're muted.
It's definitely intriguing, but honestly, I have no idea what to expect now with this. And I think that's a good thing too, for the most part.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that they say that there's like a whole new direction that they're taking, like the idea of a superhero into, and also bringing in that it's going to be essentially motivated by her empath abilities. I definitely find extremely intriguing. And all I can really do right now is speculate. Like, maybe doesn't mean that she's kind of a hero that helps people based on like emotion wise who's in the most pain. Does she kind of knowing whether or not to because I think there's like that always that man versus nature type of thing, and when she's an empath that can even feel the world, there's that whole thing where maybe a lot of her decisions on whether or not to help humanity it comes from how it would affect the earth as a whole. So I'm wondering if that's a part of like what they mean by her overall heroics.
I appreciate that viewpoint. I really do. I didn't even really consider that. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that when it comes to this crew, they clearly have been around on Earth for millions of years, right? Like if there is anybody that maybe has a connection to the world and how it feels, whether that be nature or just the human beings that encompass it after all those years, I can definitely see her power set being rather powerful and being utilized in such unique ways if it's really able to tap into, say, like a world dynamic or the feelings of an entire culture or race of people after sort of all these years sort of thing. So maybe her empathy alone allows her to technically be maybe one of the more powerful Eternals characters that we have just based off of how long they've been around. And I think also the fact that we are juggling a little bit of a love story between her, the Richard Madden character, I think it's Icarus, if I'm not mistaken, and then even the Black Knight. I do think the fact that they are kind of tackling this more as a love story for her character, I think the idea of her being an empath probably works itself rather well into that sort of situation. So, just looking at some of the power sets of what we've seen just in the trailer, outside of like speed that we've seen of, when one of the Eternals wind up saving somebody's life, haven't really seen exactly how everybody's power set certainly works. But I do think with somebody like a director like Chloe Zhao, to be able to bring these characters to life, I do think it's going to be a pretty unique way in which they wind up handling their abilities, and one that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really glad that you brought that up, though, in regards to maybe her connection to the world and the people of the world, because I do think that her abilities can certainly come in bigger handy than, say, even like a Mantis that we wind up seeing from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll be really intrigued to see how they handle this.
Mm-hmm. Same here, definitely.
But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. What do you think about this particular article in regards to how they want to go ahead and represent the idea of superheroes? I mean, again, it's really this concept of, we're so used to like the big bombastic and special effects sort of thing. Not to say that there's not going to be any special effects in here, but usually when we see somebody utilizing their abilities, it's either to save lives, cause destruction, or whatever the case may be, in really big spectacle sort of ways, where it feels like this approach for this movie is going to be a lot more subtle and maybe a lot more quiet to a certain extent. But I'm here for it. I do think her being an empath can really work wonders in the world, especially the world that we're sort of living in today. So I think if anything intrigues me about Circe, it's probably going to be her perspective and sort of her point of view of humanity after being around after all these years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that though, I'm also curious because I don't think, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have a full idea of what time period the majority of the film is going to take place in. We know that at least part of it will take place after Endgame because of that one joke they made about the Avengers no longer being around. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm wondering if part of it does take like place during modern times, if it means that we might get like kind of some social commentary with her abilities, or some of it takes place in the past. And what they could really do, you could kind of see some barbaric like kind of situations from the past, and then you could see those same things play out in the present as well, kind of saying, yeah, we may have changed in some areas but not quite as much as we should in others.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the movie does take place just over centuries. We get like little pieces here and there, maybe of different time periods. I would find that pretty interesting. Like, her power set almost reminds me of like if you're playing like an RPG game, like she's like the healer of the group, if you will, like the mental healer of the group, and I just think based off of just their longevity, her being connected to the human race and the idea of people's feelings and just the idea of empathy. Yeah, I think that would really go a long way. And I'm hoping that Chloe Zhao does a great job of showcasing that on screen and how her power set works in a more sort of subtle way. So it should be, it feels very unique and just a smart handling of maybe some of these characters. So I think that's one of the reasons why when it comes to the Eternals, I'm so incredibly fascinated to kind of see how they handle these characters and what their role is going to be overall as we progress through the MCU.
Yep.
All right, guys. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in regards to this. What's your hype level for the Eternals? You hear what Chloe Zhao and Gemma are certainly talking about in regards to Cersei's abilities, her power set, how they're going to be portrayed on screen. Go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. And with that, guys, we've got one more topic, one that I'm really eager to go ahead and get into. There's like an inner child in me that cannot wait to go ahead and discuss this. But we're going to be jumping over into the world of DCEU, the extended universe, the cinematic world for the DC. As when it comes to The Flash is currently filming. We've been seeing fantastic photos as of late. Sasha Calle as Supergirl. We've even seen Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne on set. Ezra Miller's popped up in there. Heck, we've even seen Ben Affleck's Batman on the Bat Cycle on the set as well. So this movie is about to be just off the wall. Absolutely thrilled about it. But one of the ideas and concepts here that we have going into this movie is the return of Michael Keaton, who's not just going to be playing Bruce Wayne. Oh, no. He is, in fact, going to be playing Batman at some particular point in time. And this just brings me back to my days and joys of the first original Batman movie, Batman Returns, getting the opportunity to see Michael Keaton back in the Cape and Cowl again. Just gets me giddy like a child. So this week, guys, when Michael Keaton talks about the idea of Batman's first scene in the Flash movie, it just takes me back to my childhood. Let's talk about this story and see exactly what it is that Michael Keaton is in fact referring to, because he is in fact back as Batman, ladies and gentlemen. So it says Michael Keaton describes the first shot of Batman in the Flash. Whoa, this is big. And I love this photo, by the way, of this wallpaper, if you will, of Batman with the Flash and Supergirl. But it says,
yeah, I think it looks awesome.
It looks great, doesn't it? It says the bat's been out of the bag for a while, and while we know Michael Keaton is reprising his role of Batman in director Andy Muschietti's The Flash, what we actually do not know is what it will feel like to see Michael Keaton step back into the Cape and Cowl he last wore almost 3 decades ago for a pair of Batman films directed by Tim Burton. So when Collider Steve Weintraub sat down with the actor for the upcoming action thriller The Protege, we simply had to ask about what that first day back in costume was like, and the answer is everything a Bat fan, especially a Tim Burton Bat fan, could want. This is what Michael Keaton said. He says, it was weirdly and ironically easy, a little bit emotional, just a rush of memories without giving anything away, which I can't. Basically, the first shot, not the entire movie, but let's say the introduction of Batman is so good that when we walked on and we started talking about a couple of shots and angles, I went, whoa, this is big. This is great. I don't even mean for me, just the imagery is great and reminiscent to some degree of Tim Burton. And so, yeah, it says after rumors, Keaton was officially confirmed to be playing Bruce Wayne in The Flash back in April of 2021. The film, which experienced its own turbulent road to production before Muschietti finally signed on in 2019, will introduce DC's live action multiverse with a rumored adaptation of the timeline shifting Flashpoint. Let's see here. Oh, it says, despite all that universe hopping, Muschietti's horror background on films like It and Mama and Batman's whole thing about darkness, the director has teased a lighter story, heavy on the human emotions. Here's what the filmmaker said. He says, an element of horror I don't think so. What captivated me about The Flash is the human drama in it, the human feelings and emotions that play the drama of it. It's going to be fun too. I can't promise that there will be any horror elements in it really, but it's a beautiful human story. So we get another fantastic shot of classic Michael Keaton Batman here from the original Batman movie. But even Michael Keaton himself, Stuart, was blown away by just the first introduction, how Batman's going to be coming back onto the screen. He even recognizes how big and monumental this is certainly going to be. And the fact that he even kind of finds it reminiscent to that of Tim Burton's Batman. This first shot, Stuart, is going to be money. I think this is going to really kind of let us know what type of Batman, what type of story we're certainly going to be getting. And if you're going to be telling me I get the opportunity to see Michael Keaton on screen again as Batman, give me a great angled shot, a dark silhouette or whatever, just some great shadowing effects. I need to see that yellow emblem pop up in Michael Keaton's face behind that cowl, man. I'm so pumped for this. What do you think about some of the things that he's mentioned in this article?
I think what they need more than anything is a perfect build-up before introducing his character. Like a perfect, like you see part of him in the shadow before he finally steps into the light and you see him again in that bat suit. Because that's something that they did really well in the original 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie. And I still like absolutely just love that to this day. So yeah, no, I think like if Michael Keaton's impressed by this and he's saying this is going to be big for fans of the Tim Burton Batman, I think knowing Michael Keaton, I don't think it comes from just the directors and the producers trying to tell him to talk up the movie. I think this is actually coming from the heart, and he's really excited to get people like pumped up for this film. One of the things I really look forward to about this though is still not being 100% sure how it's going to work with the time shifting and everything. Like, I don't know if Barry Allen hops realities or if realities collide, if that's what's going on. But it will be really fascinating though to kind of see that Tim Burton universe be explored from more than just Gotham City, such as this new Supergirl character that we got. Is she like actually part of the Tim Burton universe, or is she part of the DCEU universe? Those are the kind of things that I'm really looking forward to seeing get explored within this. And I think when he said Tim Burton fans are going to be excited as they kind of explore that universe more, I'm wondering if that's that might be part of what he meant. Like, we're actually going to get some more explanation or more expansion beyond just Gotham City.
That would be cool to kind of see what that world looks like outside of Gotham City. I am kind of curious, like you said, if this is going to be sort of an adaptation of Flashpoint, is that the world that he goes back to and where everything kind of happens, or is he going to be doing reality hopping, right? Going to that Gotham City? Is there another Metropolis, right? Is this Supergirl in that sort of Tim Burton world, or is it another time period, or whatever the case may be, another timeline? So yeah, there is definitely a lot of mystery in regards to this. Like, a part of me wonders, like, is Sasha Calle's Supergirl the villain of this movie? Like, is it a Flash and Batman that got to bring down their version of a Superman or Supergirl sort of thing? I have absolutely no idea, but I will be interested to kind of see how this kind of all plays out. But for me, when Michael Keaton does refer to the idea of it being big and reminiscent to that of Tim Burton, I feel like if there's anybody in that can maybe capture that world again, maybe it is Andy Muschietti. It's not necessarily the fact that they have to tap into horror elements, but as a director, from things that we've seen from him when it comes to It and Mama, it's all really about capturing those moments, right? And I think if there's anybody that has that type of experience in horror that can still, while not horror, but still bring sort of a dark element in introducing the Batman to us, I think they've got a great sort of director on board to really bring Michael Keaton Batmans to life once again, very similar to what we wind up seeing in the Tim Burton versions of Batman. So I'm really looking forward to this, man. I cannot tell you how excited I am to certainly see Michael Keaton's return. It definitely makes me feel like a little kid, and if it's even making Michael Keaton sort of that emotional, to me, it just lets me know that he definitely jumped on this project not because it's the idea of more popularity for him as Batman, but he clearly saw something in the script that really warranted him to even come back sort of in the first place, right? Because, you know, again, if you had asked me 30 years ago, will we ever see Michael Keaton back as Batman, I would have laughed in your face. But clearly there's something in this script, the human being aspect of it, that really drew Michael Keaton out. And I think if you can get into that human element, but still bring in sort of that dark aspect of Michael Keaton donning the cape and cowl again, and really giving us that Batman from the 80s or late 80s, I'm here for it, man. And I think they've got a great combination of people to certainly bring that to light. So the potential here is unbelievable. But as a kid, I'm super pumped to kind of see this again.
Yeah, same here, definitely. I think another thing about Michael Keaton returning to the role as Batman is that, yeah, as a kid watching his movies in the 80s, he was my all-time favorite Batman. And something kind of interesting about why he never returned to Batman Forever is because he looked at the script and was not a fan of it at all, and therefore walked out, which means more than likely, now it could be an age thing too, like over time you start to not really be too picky about the scripts that you're in, so it could be that. But I like to think that, you know, it shows that he is somewhat picky and choosy about the scripts that he decides to go with. So I'd like to think that if he didn't like the script for Flashpoint, he wouldn't be agreeing to do it. But I could be wrong about that. But that's kind of my hope, is that this means that he actually does think there's a really good movie here. And I really look forward to seeing that potential play out in the big screen.
Yeah, because I think Michael Keaton, especially in his as he's gotten older in his age, he probably is a lot more picky in the projects that he actually picks. I mean, we saw him in Birdman, which got him an Oscar nomination, which I honestly thought he probably should have won that year. But he's really aligned himself with some really top-notch quality movies over the past several years. It's not like a Nicolas Cage situation where you're just doing anything for money at this point. But he really is sort of being picky and choosy about when he makes his return to things, when he winds up attaching himself to a script. So the fact that he warrants the attention of a Flash script like this makes me think that they probably have gold here. Now, it probably might worry some people because if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the same writer that also did Birds of Prey, which most people probably weren't that thrilled about. But I think when you have a different set of characters in here, maybe we can certainly expect something vastly different than what we wind up getting previously. And when you attach somebody like Andy Muschietti as a great director to this, I do think that this is just keep my fingers crossed. And I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I do think that they might have something special on their hands. I mean, just the idea of Batman coming back from the 80s in here, come on, man. That's like $1 billion movie waiting to happen.
Oh yeah, and I mean personally, I actually did really enjoy Birds of Prey, and
I did too.
I also really like the first It movie. Like I thought that one was really well directed. So I do think that the two of them as a combination are definitely going to work. And plus, like it's funny to me. I look back on a lot of like superhero movies and how a lot of some really good superhero movies are like directed by horror movie directors. And so I think it's just a weird thing. Horror movie directors are good at making superhero movies.
Yeah, I think they just tap into, like he said, I think they're able to just tap into human emotions, the darkness that comes with it, the light that comes with it. Also, I think horror film directors just have a really great balance of how they're able to portray that type of stuff on screen. So yeah, man, I think this is a great pickup, and I cannot wait to see Michael Keaton again as Batman. But guys, like, we want to know your thoughts. What do you think about what Michael Keaton has to say? Even he sees the very first shot of reintroducing Batman to the world as big and monumental, and even a little bit of emotional for him also. So again, I think the idea of him even coming back says big things about this upcoming movie. But we want to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. Marcelino does say, I also enjoyed Birds of Prey. I just don't like the type of hate that it gets. People are calling the worst superhero movie ever made. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I'm not saying that I absolutely love Birds of Prey, but I've watched the movie twice already, and each time that I've watched it, I definitely enjoy it for certainly what it is, for sure. I thought they handled that movie pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, worst superhero movie. No, it's definitely far from that. I've definitely seen worse.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, guys. With that out of the way, though, we will in fact go over to your live viewer questions. If you guys ever have a live viewer question that you want to go ahead and submit over to us, you can go ahead and do that anytime during the week if you'd like to. Feel free to submit your questions to aplusopinions@gmail.com. Again, aplusopinions@gmail.com. If you see a news article that you read throughout the week, if you watch a television show or movie that you want us to react to or give thoughts about, feel free to go ahead and always send your questions and thoughts over to aplusopinions@gmail.com, and we'll definitely get to them at the end of each of our shows. So, Stuart, let's go ahead and tackle some questions, man. Let's see what the people of the world are saying out there right now.
Awesome.
Here we go. So since I was not here the previous week, I'll make sure I get to all the questions that we missed out on. So Jessica Fryman, appreciate you coming through, Jessica, as always. Who would you like to see star in the upcoming live action Pokemon series? And would you like to see Ron Wilder have a love interest in the new season of Batwoman?
I think I'm gonna answer the Batwoman one first because I actually think there is a unique direction they could take it for season 3. I would love it if her love interest was Renee Montoya because they're bringing her in, and it would also be perfect because they definitely work on two very different sides of the law. So it would be, I could definitely see them butting heads in the beginning, and then that ends up being what
falling in love
together at the end of the season. I just wouldn't want it rushed. I would want this to be like they hate each other for the first half, they become friends in the second half, and then maybe at the end of the season is when you get like kind of the spark of romance.
Okay. I kind of like that. I personally was going to say no. I mean, I don't necessarily need a love interest. But then again, I haven't really followed the Ryan Wilder storyline so much for season 2 to see if, maybe a relationship brewing is something that would naturally happen for her in the 3rd season or not. But everybody loves love, so why not? But for me, I don't necessarily need it. Who would you like to see star in an upcoming live action Pokemon series? I don't know why the first name that comes to my mind is John Cena. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh, him as Brock or him as just a gym leader would be no, dude. Him as the 3rd gym leader, the one with the Raichu. Oh my gosh, that would be so perfect. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why John Cena comes to mind. You have anybody else you might want to see? I definitely would. I personally would like to see Justice Smith come back. I know he was in Detective Pikachu, but I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up again.
Oh yeah, if they tied into that world, I would love him to if not be the main character, at least like have an appearance, like a guest starring role at one point. That'd be great. Or if they want to just make him the main character and have the show take place after the movie, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
But then you'd have to get Ryan Reynolds, which would be expensive. But anyways, my number one pick is to get a time machine, go back in time 4 years ago when he was still like really young, and get the kind of chubbier kid from Stranger Things. I think he would be perfect for Ash.
Oh, yes, I dig that. That's a great casting choice, man. Yeah, I would absolutely love that.
I just feel like he's kind of too old for the role now, which is too bad because kids grow way too fast. So it's like one of those things where it's like,
has he grown pretty fast though?
I mean, yeah, like all the kids in Stranger Things, they've all grown up now.
I feel like he continues to look exactly
adults,
this.
But they definitely, you can definitely tell that they've aged.
Let me see, what's his name? Gaten Matarazzo. That's an interesting name, but yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in there. That'd be pretty cool. Jessica Fryman also says, would you like to see Stargirl meet another teenage female heroine one day? And why was Supergirl ever introduced? And why was Supergirl ever introduced in the 90s Superman show? Why or why wasn't she?
Oh, I think maybe it was meant to be was.
Well, it says why was Supergirl ever introduced in the 90s Superman show? I'm assuming Lois and Clark they're referring to.
Or is she referring to the Superman the animated series?
It says show. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Supergirl did have her own movie at least back in the 80s. her not being introduced in the 90s, I'm only thinking of Lois and Clark. That unfortunately was just a completely different mindset back in the day, not really where we're at now that really pushes the superhero aspect so much. I felt like that was certainly more of a character study on Lois and Clark more than it was a Superman show. I mean, we definitely got Superman aspects to it, but I can see why they wouldn't have introduced her back then. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just
Yeah.
popularity of Superman back in the day. Would you like to see Stargirl meet other teenage female heroines one day? We kind of saw her meet Jade, right? That's a new teenage hero. But
Mhm.
anybody else you would probably like to see her meet?
Uh, I mean, it probably won't happen now with the show ending, but it would have been kind of cool if Black Lightning was still on and she met with Thunder and Lightning for an episode.
Mm, that would be pretty cool. I would love to see Thunder and Lightning pop up in there. Um, let's see here. Next couple of questions or comments. This comes from Marcelino Vasquez, doing a little bit of jumping around here. He says, okay, here we go. Let's see if we can it's like one big comment or question. So bear with me here, Stuart.
All right.
Um, Marcelino always hits us with the hard thinking questions. When it comes to the negative YouTubers who say that Hollywood is going woke and promoting SJW content, I want to think that they are in the minority and don't speak for necessarily the majority. But those kind of YouTubers have a huge fan base. And when it comes to YouTubers who have similarities with you, seem to have a very small fan base, especially when they pull up examples like Netflix losing over 500,000 subscribers because all their shows are going woke, and comic book sales are falling because the writers keep changing already established characters, turning them into LGBTQ or race swapping or forcing identity politics at the forefront instead of telling stories or movies like Cruella, Snake Eyes, and Birds of Prey have failed at the box office because the audience don't want to hear woke political messages. So it feels like people like us who are open to diverse media like this are in the minority and saying that the majority wants this woke era to end and go back to the roots of what media used to be, which is to deliver entertainment and not political messages. But what do you think?
Uh, yeah, no, I know there are a lot of really popular YouTubers like that, but I see like for every popular YouTuber that's very toxic, I see plenty that are really heavy in subscriber bases that aren't very toxic. Uh but yeah, no, I do agree. There are definitely some really popular ones out there that kind of have that like woke, anti-woke Hollywood kind of message. And it's just weird to me because like there's always this weird thing where they try to say that you can't like suddenly like diversity and wokeness is like you're doing that in exchange for entertainment, even though it's like that makes zero sense. You can still
Mhm.
be entertainment. Who you have cast isn't going to change. It's there's a lot of factors that make a movie or whatever you're watching entertaining. Who you cast is like only a part of it. And again, just making the cast diverse isn't going to ruin the quality or anything. So I never understand when people like try to use that argument. But yeah, no, I think maybe like one YouTuber in particular who has like over 1 million subscribers, but is like a really shitty person, the Quartering. I think it's just because he really knows how to play with the YouTube's algorithm, and he knows
Mhm.
a lot of how to make those perfect like clickbaity thumbnails. There's plenty of really shitty YouTubers who I've watched like videos from because they've had intriguing thumbnails, and it's definitely made me think, oh cool, I gotta check this out. And there are even times where it's like taking me a while to realize how shitty they are, because I'll every once in a while watch a video from them where I'm like, oh yeah, I do agree with a lot of this his points that they bring up. But then I watched like the next video from them, and that's when you kind of really see who they truly are afterwards. So yeah, I think it doesn't really come to what people believe is right or wrong. I think it just all comes down to numbers, and unfortunately a lot of shitty toxic YouTubers really know how to play with the YouTube's algorithm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I feel like and we said this before too. I feel like if we were a lot more negative on our show, we probably would
Mhm.
have a shit ton more subscribers to our channel, to say the least, right? I think negativity, unfortunately, these days is really what wins. And maybe you're right too, Stuart. Maybe the idea that they know how to handle the YouTube algorithm to kind of get so many clicks or get so many views certainly does go a long way for them to kind of spew that negativity. I mean, look, all the, the idea of Netflix losing 500,000 subscribers, comic book sales failing type of thing. I mean, they could explain, they could throw on any label as to why they think it's things like that are certainly failing. I mean, I can easily see people making an argument for something as stupid as, oh, it's because it's woke content people are leaving. I mean, there's so many other reasons behind why Netflix falls in subscriber base. Like comic book sales have been falling for years, and it's got nothing to do with like being woke, more or less that it does
Mhm.
that things are just, when it comes to physical media, that's sort of dying off and everything is kind of turning more into digital media. It's just a process of moving forward in the years type of thing. So there's always going to be people out there that are going to take numbers and kind of skew those numbers to fit sort of their negative narrative that they want about a particular topic that really just doesn't hold any merit or any water whatsoever. So, there are just some people that you either have to ignore and again, it's one of those things where it's unfortunate that the internet has brought us to this point this day where it has given everybody the opportunity to voice their opinions. And maybe some opinions are shittier than others and are more negative than others, but it gives those people an outlet to certainly put their thoughts out there. And unfortunately, there are just those people do tend to be the loudest when it comes to those type of things. So, I mean, to each their own, whatever YouTuber you certainly want to watch. I just think that a lot of people out there like to bend and skew facts to kind of fit their negative narrative, just to kind of be clickbaity or fit what they want. And unfortunately, the loud minority definitely does get over on maybe the silent majority, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And like the other thing too is that I feel like a lot of people that that like hate the woke culture and that kind of stuff, I feel like they're just constantly looking for people who agree with them, and therefore, when you get
always.
someone like that on YouTube, yeah, like those type of people are definitely going to be subscribing right away instead of just watching occasional videos here and there. And I think like the other thing is like with what we do, it's so far spread out, and the things that we talk about, and because there's so many YouTubers like us, it's it means that the subscriber count is spread thin, so it's like
Mhm.
less of them have as many subscribers, if that makes sense. I
Yeah, no,
apologize if I said that weirdly, but you know what I
no,
mean?
yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying for sure. But yeah, so don't let the loud minority fool you. Don't let the loud minority kind of dictate sort of the narrative of the real world that we certainly live in. There are some people out there that are just really frightened of not feeling like they're a part of the world anymore and think that other people are taking over, and all they want to do is hit you with a bunch of fear narrative, to make you doubt what's happening. Not to say that Hollywood is perfect, and by
Mhm.
all means. I mean, there's definitely corruption. I mean, Dan, we just talked about the Disney and Scarlett Johansson thing that certainly was going on, but so there's always going to be a very negative and fearful narrative out there. But unfortunately, those people tend to draw in like-minded people, and yeah, their subscriber base just continues to grow. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for the question, Marcelino. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We've got Doomsday. Doomsday says, when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced, what were your initial thoughts about it? Do you remember what your thoughts were when Guardians of the Galaxy was announced?
Who are the Guardians of the Galaxy? No, I mean, I
Yeah.
actually did know who they were, but I wasn't like a big fan of them or anything. I only knew them by name, so I was not sure how this movie was going to do. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the first trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, I actually thought the movie was going to suck.
Mm, I can understand that though.
Yeah.
I think when I heard about it, I was aware, but I was like, these guys? This is the route, like them. Okay, I mean, I guess. But for me, I initially thought, like, despite the fact that of me questioning why they certainly chose Guardians, the next thing that I went to though was, man, this is going to be risky.
Mhm.
This is a really risky endeavor for the MCU. I thought the first Thor was like their first risky step. And now them going into like the cosmos, I'm like, man, I have no idea how they're going to bring this all together, but this is going to a really risky move by the MCU. And they pulled it off. So yeah, I wasn't too familiar with the characters. I clearly knew of them from the comic books, but it's not like I ever really picked up a Guardians of the Galaxy comic and like read an entire run by somebody before. I just really knew of the characters as they kind of came out. But I think for me, I remember going and watching. They had like a special screening, I think, or like a special teaser that they wind up showing. I think it was like a 2 or 3 minute scene from that Marvel had put together of the jail breakout when they get captured and stuff, and then they have to escape. For me, I remember watching that and I just thought to myself, this is going to be amazing. Like, this is so damn funny. The action was certainly great. Just in that brief moment, everybody really shined. And so once I actually saw the 2 or 3 minutes worth of tease of it, I definitely felt like they were onto something. But yeah, the first initial thing was, this is risky, and why them of all people? So yeah.
Mm.
Let's see here. What was the other question we have? What are your predictions for the Shang-Chi movie, if you have any?
Uh, One, I'm definitely predicting we're going to get some slight, but I think it'll be subtle though. So I think it'll be like one of those things where if you haven't seen the Iron Man movies, it's not going to confuse you or anything like that. But I do think we're going to get some subtle like Iron Man tie-ins because the 10 rings have been mentioned before in the first Iron Man movie. And then of course you got the fact that like the Mandarin himself, or there was, a guy claiming to be the Mandarin in the third movie. And then I'm not sure if this is canon, but back when the MCU started out, they had their one shots, which were like short
Oh,
films that would come with the DVDs and they'd be part
yeah.
of the universe. And I think it is canon because one of the characters who was only exclusive on the one shot, which was in the Agent Carter one shot short, he ended up making an appearance in Marvel's What If, basically as he was like that dude with the glasses that kept like down talking Captain Carter the entire time. So I'm assuming the one shots are canon. And because of that, I do think there might be a reference to Iron Man 3 and the guy who claimed to be the Mandarin, him being killed in prison, because that's what happens in the short film.
They killed him?
Yeah.
I thought they captured him.
Maybe captured him. Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't on screen, so it might have been an implied death, and I assumed they killed him. But you could be right; they may have actually just captured him.
Because I thought they came into the prison and like broke him out or something like that and captured him. I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched that one shot. But yeah, it's a great prediction. Like for me, give me a Ben Kingsley. I want to see him pop back up in here as Trevor. Like I really would. I want to see what happened to him. They haven't mentioned him being in the movie whatsoever. But if I can get a brief like just Ben Kingsley, who's an amazing actor by the way, if I can just get a quick cameo of him as Trevor to see what actually happened to him to make that connection to Iron Man 3, give it to me, man. Give it to me. That's really the only connection that I want to that movie, if at all possible. I don't really have any other predictions for Shang-Chi. Like, I am kind of curious to see where this movie leaves maybe Abomination afterwards, because I believe he's supposed to pop up again in the She-Hulk series, if I'm not mistaken. And then we also, I think Wong is in the movie. I kind of want to see where he goes or why he's there. So I don't really have any predictions so much as I do have questions. And you know what, Stuart? This is a perfect opportunity to bring this up. Let me see if I can pull up this YouTube page real quick here. Facebook page here. Because this past week, we did unfortunately have a passing of a stunt coordinator that had the opportunity to work with Jackie Chan for so many years of his career. And not just that, but he also was the stunt coordinator for many other martial arts and action films in the past. But unfortunately, the guy wound up passing away. And based off of his passing in the article that I read, I had no idea that he was actually going to be the stunt coordinator for Shang-Chi. So if anything, I got to tell you, man, I'm really hoping, knowing that this gentleman was attached to this project. Damn, I just hope that the martial arts in here is off the world. His name is out of this world. His name is Brad Allen. He's the Shang-Chi stunt coordinator and the Jackie Chan stuntman. Died at a young age, 48 years old, unfortunately. But I remember watching Brad Allen face off against Jackie Chan himself. I remember seeing some of his great stunt work in the past. The fact that he's attached to Shang-Chi, man, I hope that this movie at least gives him a shout out or a quick in memory of Brad Allen, because the one aspect of Shang-Chi that I've been wanting to see is the martial arts. I feel like they haven't fully showcased to us in the trailers alone what the martial arts is going to be like. We've seen very brief glimpses, but I want to see some all-out battles. I'm really hoping that Shang-Chi really pops on the screen, and hopefully it's because of Brad Allen's work. So that's really the only thing that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Uh,
That's so sad to hear, though. Like, he was only 48.
Only 48 years old, man. It says Brad Allen. He's an Australian stuntman, stunt coordinator, and actor. Has died at the age of 48. He says he's a famous member of Hollywood stunt work world. He's been a member of Jackie Chan's stunt team for years. He's also supervised stunt coordinator for Shang-Chi. Yeah, even Jackie Chan gave him a shout out for his passing. They worked together on the 1997 film Mr. Nice Guy, which had a great sort of kickboxing fight sequence, which was unbelievable to certainly see. But this is what I believe this is what Jackie Chan said. He says, many years ago while filming Mr. Nice Guy, he was just a fan, and I remember him coming to visit the set. At that time, he was crazy about China for many years. It was because of his amazing skills and talent he transformed from being a fan to a stuntman, and eventually joined my Jackie Chan stunt team. He even fought me in, maybe it was Gorgeous that he was in. He says, I think a lot of people remember his skillful boxer in the movie. So yeah, that's the movie I'm referring to, Gorgeous. He says he's also contributed to many of my movies, very well-known action choreographer in Hollywood, and an excellent role model to many action stars. So, yeah, he also did choreography for Rush Hour sequels, the Ninja Assassin movie, Kick-Ass, Avatar, the Kingsman films, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Wonder Woman, and even Solo, a Star Wars story. He was in there also. So he's got a great resume.
Yeah, because a lot of those movies have very memorable fight scenes in it, especially because like you name dropped Kingsman and then Kick-Ass as well, both of which I think like have some amazing stunt choreography.
And even Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Don't sleep on that one also, because that was amazing in regards to its choreography. So yeah, man, Brad Allen. This is I'm assuming this might be the last film that he certainly worked on in Shang-Chi. So again, maybe not necessarily a prediction, but something I'm looking forward to. Definitely Brad Allen's work on Shang-Chi as the fight coordinator. Let's see here. Doomsday also says, what are your top 5? He's going through all the phases here, man. We did phase 1, phase 2, and now we're on phase 3. What are your top 5 favorite movies in Marvel's phase 3? And in case you need a reminder, Stuart, there's 11 films, okay? So we've got Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Ragnarok, Black Panther. This is really unfair, guys. Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home. That's a lot of damn good movies and bad movies, if you ask me. But there's a lot of damn good movies on here. You got to pick 5, Stuart. Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Homecoming, Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Atom and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home. Something's getting left out here. Did you freeze on me? Did I lose you? He bailed on me the moment I had. Damn it, Stuart. Freaking internet connection, man. The worst. All right. Well, if Stuart's not going to answer the question, let me answer it for him. So hopefully he'll pop back up in here any minute. If I have to guess on my favorite 5 out of this, oh, this is so tough. This is so tough. You already know Infinity War and Endgame are going to be up there. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So that's 2 already. I'll definitely put Black Panther up there. God, I'm even going to go ahead and put Ragnarok up there as my 4th. My 5th one is tough because we've got Civil War and we've got Spider-Man Homecoming, 2 great films that I was a big fan of. I'm almost wondering if maybe Ragnarok's not even going to make my cut now that I think about it. You know what? I don't think Ragnarok's going to make my cut. I'm going to go Infinity War. I'm going to go Endgame. I'm going to go Civil War. One, because of the Black Panther debut in there, but also just the amazing sort of personal struggle that we wind up getting out of Captain America and Tony Stark that really paves the way for the remainder. So Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, Black Panther, and then I'm going to put Spider-Man Homecoming in there also. Ragnarok will come in at number 6 for me. This is in no particular order. Ragnarok will be in at number 6 for me, but I'm going to give Spider-Man Homecoming the nod here. So that'll be my 5. So those are my 5 for my phase 3. What about you, Stuart?
So my number 1 would definitely be Infinity War. Number 2, probably Civil War. Number 3, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 4 would probably be Black Panther. Number 5, maybe Spider-Man Far From Home.
Over Endgame? You like all those over Endgame?
Actually, I'd probably put Ragnarok over Spider-Man Far From Home. Endgame
Okay.
would probably be number 6 or 7.
Okay, I got it. Nice pairing there, man. Nice top 5 you got. So thanks for the question.
Going by like how I felt watching it in theaters, Endgame is number 1 for sure. Because yeah, when you watch that movie for the first time in theaters, it's one of the coolest experiences ever. But I feel like Endgame, kind of over time, when you rewatch it, you realize it's definitely kind of the weaker ones in terms of its overall writing, to my opinion. But I'm not denying that first impact of watching Endgame is one of the most amazing experiences ever.
Well, I also think too that maybe Endgame necessarily, I don't know if if it stands on its own, like I think you almost need to watch Infinity War sort of back to back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Infinity War and Endgame to really get the full emphasis on it, but just sitting down and watching Endgame maybe as a one-off, maybe it's not necessarily the best individual film itself. But I kind of get what you mean. Let's see here, and then of course we got AJ. He's got a couple of questions here. I'll let you answer this one first. I have not watched this as of yet, Stuart. So no spoilers yet, because I do want to watch this episode. What did you guys think of season 2 premiere of Stargirl and Superman and Lois back from hiatus? What did you think? What do you think will happen in the season 1 finale? So for those of you who missed it, Stuart does have his Stargirl season 2 episode 1 review up on our channel. So if you're a big Stargirl fans, definitely go ahead and check out his work there. He certainly gives his thoughts there. But do you want to put him in cliff notes real quick? What you thought about the premiere?
Yeah, I thought the premiere overall was absolutely excellent. I think pacing wise, they did a really good job of making sure every character got a decent amount of screen time. They set up a really cool arc for each of the characters individually. But I think Brett Baxinger still gets the most amount of screen time because it's still her show, and I think it mixes drama and comedy very well. And also even having like a really cool, like Jeff Johnson hinted at before, a really cool horror opening.
Man, I cannot wait to watch this. I've been so swamped with Titans as of recent, because I didn't even realize that they were going to be dropping like 3 episodes all at once this past week. I do believe they're going to be going to just the 1 episode a week this upcoming week. So I am looking forward to that. So yeah, I had to play so much catch up on Titans. I didn't get a chance to watch Stargirl yet, but I do have the video, the episode ready to watch. So I'll definitely check it out. But what do you think will happen in the season 1 finale of Superman and Lois?
Oh man, I kind of started thinking about this recently. And I'm not saying this is definitely a for sure thing, but I think there's a chance Superman, one of two things will happen to Superman, and neither of them good. I think either Superman is going to die at the end of this season, not permanent death, but kind of a cliffhanger type death, and that might be what the funeral that we see in Supergirl, because there's like the set photos of the funeral. So I think that's a possibility. The other prediction I have, and this one I think is a lot more likely. Throughout the season, they've been talking about how important Superman's secret identity is, but never like an in-your-face kind of way, always in a very subtle type of way. So I think we're going to get like a Far From Home type situation. I think Superman is going to get outed as Clark Kent.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. I mean, in the comic book, Superman has revealed his identity to the world. I believe by his choice, though. I don't know if anybody conned him into doing it, or like is going to be revealing his identity in the comics at least. But that would be an interesting road for them to kind of go down. I mean, I feel like Superman and Lois is definitely taking their own liberties and telling a really original story here. So those are some great theories that we might get for the season 1 finale. I haven't caught up with it since it's been back from hiatus. Me and the girlfriend have been caught up for the most part. So we'll definitely make sure that we'll catch up to this newest Superman and Lois episode.
Just thought of something that could be a conflict in season 2. If Superman's identity gets revealed, understandably Jordan is no longer allowed to play football. But what if they also don't allow Jonathan Kent to play football anymore, just because he could potentially have his powers, even though he seemingly doesn't?
Oh, that would be interesting. I'd be down for that for sure. I love the sound of that. Let's see here. AJ also says, with the recent announcement of Jolo Mariduena being cast as Jaime Reyes or Jamie Reyes, Blue Beetle, how do you feel with DC hiring 3 Latin actors for their upcoming movies in HBO Max? Do you think it's really cool that Latin people are being represented? We're already getting an Asian superhero in Shang-Chi, so why not? Yeah, I mean, the more the merrier, guys. The more the merrier. I mean, just the opportunity to kind of see your culture and your people sort of represented on the big screen. It really does wonders in regards to motivating kids, to be able to pursue anything that they want to, and really giving them that boost in confidence. So I love it. I mean, yeah, Sasha Calle as Supergirl's getting that bump. We also got Leslie Grace that's going to be doing Batgirl. I believe she's Puerto Rican or Dominican, if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got Jolo, who's going to be playing Blue Beetle. So yeah, the more the merrier, guys. I think these are some really great characters which I'm glad that they're actually giving them the spotlight and the shine here, because you never know what sort of gold mine you're gonna trip into. You might have a really great script, a really great combination of director and actor, and before you know it, maybe you've got an Iron Man on your hands with some of these characters that are B-level characters that most people either don't know or don't really recognize with, and all of a sudden thrust them into creating bigger names in your DCEU world. So yeah, I love the opportunity that everybody's getting here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think the actors that they've been choosing so far, I've been really excited about the casting list that they've been dropping. And yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with Jolo from Cobra Kai, so much in fact that when I did my fantasy casting for the upcoming Power Ranger movie, I definitely wanted Jolo to be in that film. I'm sure his schedule is going to be hella busy as of right now, but yeah, I definitely recognize his talent, and for me to see these to see these people being recognized for their hard work and just what they've done for themselves, whether that be In the Heights, which is a musical that I certainly recommend you guys check out, which stars Leslie Grace, the upcoming Batgirl. Definitely check out some of these shows that these actors are going to be in to kind of see what you might be, what we certainly might get for them as roles of superheroes. So I'm excited for this. I think this is a great opportunity for all of them. Let's see here. AJ also says, what did you guys think of the Suicide Squad movie? I'm assuming you've had the opportunity to check it out maybe once or twice.
Oh yeah.
How many times have you seen it so far?
So far I've seen it technically 1.5 times because and I say half because like I saw it first in theaters and I thought it was freaking amazing. But then I was on the bus on my way to work, and I really wanted to watch like kind of the climax again. So I like just kind of skipped through the movie all the way up to the actual like climax of the film. I absolutely love it. It might be my all-time favorite DC film now. I gotta watch it one more time. I really want to watch it in IMAX because this is one of those movies where when you see it like either at home or or even on a theater screen, if you're not seeing it in IMAX, you're not getting the full picture. The cuts and bottoms are cut off from the film, and the only way you can get the full picture is to watch it in IMAX.
Yeah, me and the girlfriend, and I do want to end this conversation on two things: the Suicide Squad and Titan season 3, because I do want to pick your brain on both of those. So talking about Suicide Squad, you're right. We saw it on HBO Max on the television. A great movie. Absolutely loved it. Probably my second favorite DCEU movie as of right now. And then we went to the movie theaters yesterday to check it out. I was really trying to find either like a Dolby movie theater to check it in or IMAX, and was not able to find anything at least nearby me when it comes to IMAX. But I want to see it in IMAX. I mean, this movie was specifically filmed in IMAX for IMAX. So especially when you get to a character like Starro the Conqueror, I want to see this massive ass kaiju on screen the way that it's certainly meant to. So if there's a way that I might have to travel like 40 plus minutes, maybe an hour to kind of get to an IMAX screen that's actually showcasing the Suicide Squad, but it may warrant it even for like a third showing for me, honestly. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, man. I will say this. One thing that jumped out to me, one of the things that I've always been looking forward to was the fact of getting the opportunity to see Starro on the big screen. I mean, this is a character who was the Justice League's very first enemy that they had to kind of tackle. And the fact that James Gunn was bold enough to go ahead and bring it to American audiences and on the big screen, this creature, I love how they represented him as this sort of creature who, terrifying to say the least, right? But also gave it a level of humanity. The idea that he's like, look, man, I was just chilling in space, minding my own business, I'm gazing up at the stars sort of thing. And then all of a sudden these people just captured me and started experimenting on me. It's not like this dude wanted to be evil, right? It's the idea that it kind of forced his hand into becoming what he is. And I love the fact that James Gunn just had that mindset enough to give that level of humanity to a character like Starro. And I think it went a really long way in regards to just making that final battle sequence even more memorable for me. Just unbelievable stuff, man, to be able to take these obscure characters and make me actually want to see more of them now.
I don't think there was a single character in the movie that was just purely evil for the sake of being evil. I think that was what was so interesting. It's like you get a team of supervillains, but each one of them have like an aspect to them that you really, really enjoy. I mean, with Ratcatcher, I don't even think she's a villain at all. Like there was nothing really menacing about her in the entire film.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely loved the only thing I can think of that I wasn't the biggest fan of is I think the ending would have been slightly more impactful if they didn't give us that scene with Peter Capaldi earlier with him discussing everything with the, that country's government. I wish that scene was taken out because then I feel like the slow reveal for it would have been a lot better. But with Starro, though, I was so impressed with the way they pulled him off because he was comic book accurate and he looked very modernized and still somehow terrifying at the same time, like adorable and terrifying, like with especially when they show like the body horror, like when they
Mhm.
go into the facility underneath. And something I did not expect. I thought this was going to be kind of like the Snyder cut, where when they announced it was going to be rated R, I thought they were originally going for a PG-13 rating, and they just decided to keep in all the stuff that they normally would have had to cut from the film. But no, this was a hard R, and
Yeah.
I think this movie in particular benefited from the R rating. And I besides having that one scene removed from the movie, I literally cannot think of a single thing I didn't like about the movie. Even so, Rick Flags, who I thought was the most boring character in the first movie,
Absolutely,
I
bro.
loved him in this
I
movie.
loved him in this movie. I really did. It's so crazy because I mean, going back and watching the first Suicide Squad movie, I remember when they announced that he was coming back, I was like, really, Rick Flag of all the people, like that do what you want to bring back to this movie? And what James Gunn was able to do with him just really made me feel for the character even more. I love the fact that him and Harley Quinn clearly have a past together because of that first movie. And I think James Gunn did a great job of, like, you can clearly tell this is a sequel to the first Suicide Squad movie. You don't have to tell me about their past adventures. Just the fact that they know each other, along with Harley knowing Captain Boomerang, that's all I need to know, because I can just easily tell, yeah, they've been on past missions together, and this is just another mission that they kind of find themselves on. But man, and this spoiler-ish, guys, spoiler-ish. So if you have not watched Suicide Squad, please do yourselves a favor. But like, even seeing the death of Rick Flag at the end, I was like, no, don't kill this man off. And I used to not even care about this dude before. So yeah, I thought they did a remarkable job with this movie. I truly did. Even just the creative touches of, when you're progressing the stories on, and you see just a unique way that James Gunn does, like his 3 days later or 8 days later sort of thing, or now moments, right? Like those really great sort of transition operation, a Harley type of thing, the way that those cool little special effects kind of come up. I really loved everything that he did in here. And you know who actually also shined for me outside of Ratcatcher, which I really enjoyed. I would love to see more of her. Polka Dot Man really jumped out at me too. I love the shots of just seeing him thinking of seeing his mom everywhere. Those are absolutely hilarious.
Hilarious gags, especially at the very end.
Hilarious stuff, man. And even Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie continues to floor me. I can see why James Gunn had such a great time filming with her. I mean, the idea that she literally shoots Homeboy without even thinking about it. And it's just like, I've got terrible luck with men. When you start talking about killing kids and all, that's a giant red flag to me, man. So like, I love the fact that she pulls the button, and one of my favorite lines is, she's like, you know what, I actually think you look even more beautiful in this spotlight, when he's literally like bleeding to death on the ground. So twisted. It was just perfect Harley Quinn humor that works so well for her, and I love what Margot Robbie continues to do with that character. I truly do.
Something I thought was really awesome in this movie, and I know for a fact it wasn't intentional by James Gunn. It was just one of those things that accidentally worked out really well. Is it really did feel like, for her character, like it was a direct continuation of Birds of Prey. She really felt like she was picking up right where that movie left off. And I'm wondering if it's because Margot Robbie had a lot of impact on how her character was written in the script. But yeah, I thought that was really well done, even if it wasn't intentional. But yeah, I will admit, so Captain Boomerang was one of the few things about the first Suicide Squad movie that I actually liked. So I do kind of agree with this.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I will say I was not expecting that to be a bloodbath the first 5 minutes. I mean, I know James Gunn literally warned us, don't get too attached to these characters, but I at least thought some of these characters were gonna make it out at least halfway through the movie. But it was such a great way to start off the movie, and then you quickly come to find out, oh shit, like they're just a diversion. Like fucking Amanda Waller, like at her finest, man. it was a remarkable film. It truly was. It was so much fun, unapologetically violent, and just so incredibly well thought out. And like you said, Stuart, right? The idea of bringing Starro to life could have just been the most ridiculous asked thing, but they do such a great job of not only giving it humanity, adding some horror elements to it, and just really being able to pull it off. They did a great job in here. So if anything, kudos also to John Cena for coming through with Peacemaker. Not somebody that I look at as a fantastic actor, but if you put him in the right role, you give him great material to work with, he can actually do justice by it. And I thought his portrayal of Peacemaker in here, especially when shit started to hit the fan towards the end, great performance. I definitely want to see a Peacemaker series. Is there any other character out of this that you would like to see either a spin-off or a limited series from to go further in depth?
Out of the ones that I guess if we're doing the entire cast and crew, so like even the ones that died because it could take place before it, I do kind of hope we get more Captain Boomerang, because I would love to see him in like maybe a brief appearance in Flashpoint if they want to do like Flashpoint taking place before the Suicide Squad. But yeah, no, I think like for the most part, with that exception, oh yeah, obviously Idris Elba's character. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Deathlock could actually work as either a standalone solo film or as like a miniseries, just like John Cena's character. Other than that, I think like the rest of the Suicide Squad, what makes them really great is the way they play off of each other. So I don't know how well they'd work if they were, in their own separate projects. I think for Peacemaker, though, he was just such a perfect character in the type that you love to hate. So I definitely think his spin-off show is going to be something really unique.
Yeah, that battle between him and Rick Flag, like I could not tell you who I really wanted to win that battle. I just remember like, this is fucking intense, man. And I didn't know how to feel about it. But yeah, I definitely want more John Cena as Peacemaker. So great film overall, man. Great film. I'm kind of curious to know what you guys have thought about Suicide Squad. Now, Indy did do his spoiler review last week for you guys. So if you want to go ahead and check out Indy's thoughts, feel free. There is a spoiler video up on our YouTube page for us to go ahead and talk about it. If anything, Stuart, I will say the other topic, it's not part of the questions here, but I want to pick your brain in regards to this. Titans season 3, we got 3 episodes. I believe the first one was the Barbara Gordon episode, second was the Red Hood, and third was Hank and Dove. I just dropped my review for episode 3 earlier this morning. 3 episodes in, holy shit, man. I don't know, like the mindset going into season 3. I don't know if they were like, hey man, we're on HBO Max now, we got to pull the trigger on some great storytelling. But this is the, coming out of the gate swinging with strong 3 episodes back to back. I'm really eager to see where the rest of this season goes. How have you been liking it so far?
Oh, I've been absolutely loving it. The performances have greatly improved, to my opinion. Not that they were ever that bad before, but just something about the way they're doing it in this particular season. It definitely feels like they've kind of taken their performance in a very different direction. And it's funny too, because it's the same thing with season 2. This feels like another reboot to Titans. It feels like kind of another season 1 of a different, like I'm starting a different show, starting this show. But yeah, no, everything about it, I think it's been amazing. I think the drama has been great. And I think that, Jason Todd, I am really, really excited and curious to learn everything that's going on with him, because yeah, I do like that the characters, as much as emotional as they are, they're thinking rationally about this. You got Dick Grayson saying this makes 0 sense for Jason Todd to be doing this, even as irrational as he can be. And it's something that is amazing. They're learning from previous mistakes, because here we have what happened in season 2 when they thought that Jason Todd was messing with everyone. They just jumped to conclusions and all just started yelling at him and that kind of a thing. So I love that here they're trying not to make that same mistake. They're actually looking for like, oh wait, there has to be more to this than what's going on, what we can see. So I love that they're learning from their mistakes, both like I feel like on a writing standpoint and like for a character standpoint for some of these characters. I think like one nitpick, and I brought this up on Twitter, that I have with it is that it is weird that you have Dick Grayson going around Gotham City in front of a bunch of other police officers when he's an escaped convict. So he theoretically should be a fugitive
that's
now.
right, because he did escape prison, didn't he?
So it is really bizarre that, and especially because it's not like his face would be unknown to Gotham City. He knows Barbara Gordon really well, so I think it's fair to say that a few other officers have seen his face. So I don't know. I wish they would at the very least address that and bring up like, oh yeah, Bruce Wayne was able to clear it up because he's rich. I don't know, just something to indicate that is not something that that he has to worry about, because if it is something he has to worry about, then he's really, really stupid.
Yeah, I was thinking that
that's
the
a
other
nitpick though.
I was thinking about that when I was watching it, just seeing how much Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon, how much time they're spending together, how much they're puzzling over the mystery and the crimes and things like that. I kept thinking to myself, there's no way that nobody knows that this dude is Nightwing. Like there's no way. I mean, he's involved in everything that Barbara Gordon is doing right now. So you got to think that the whole GCPD probably knows this man is Nightwing at this particular point in time. There's like no mystery behind it anymore. There's like no mystery behind it. But I got to agree with you, man. I feel like, I think what helps too is now that we are in season 3 and this team has now formed that sort of camaraderie and it's very much more team based, it feels more natural. I feel like for a lot of these actors and these performers, to where it's really just boosting them up when it comes to just their character growth, being able to see them all as like a full-fledged team working well, like an well-oiled machine. I mean, I love seeing Gar's inclusion in here, how much he's actually learned. Same thing with Superboy in episode 3. It seems like they're actually utilizing them rather well than just having them stand around and just do nothing all season long, right? And I think they also are doing a great job of just focusing and tightening up its storytelling. Clearly, we're going to have subplots for some characters, but I feel like it's still at this point relatively all connected to one thing. I mean, we've got the big overarching story clearly with Dick Grayson and the Jason Todd stuff, but even somebody like a Starfire is getting proper shine. Superboy and Gar all being included in here, even though, they've hinted at potential storylines that they might explore as the season progresses. It just feels like storytelling has become a lot tighter, and it's really just, it's just something that the show is really benefiting from, because they're able to really push the narrative forward without feeling like, oh, we've got to tell everybody's story in every episode and pull the viewer sort of left and right. The fact that we're 3 episodes in, we haven't seen Donna Troy's storyline. We haven't seen Rachel as of yet. There's so much stuff still to explore. We haven't been introduced to Roy Harper. But again, I think they're just doing a great job of what they have. And the idea of this being an original story, making really bold decisions in regards to Bruce Wayne's actions at the end of season 1, the reveal of Red Hood as early as season 2, and of course the unfortunate death at the end of episode 3. I'm just thinking to myself, man, they are taking some chances here, and it really is sort of paying off. And now that we are 3 seasons in, this cast is feeling comfortable. This is the type of camaraderie that I was wishing that we had with maybe in season 2. But you can clearly see, like you mentioned, they clearly have learned from their mistakes, whether that be all the lies that they told one another. I don't want to say the backstabbing so much, but clearly there were some difficulties with this Titans team the very first 2 seasons. But now that we're past all that for the most part, I really love how this team has kind of come together, and it really does feel like they've injected themselves with new blood when it comes to storytelling, because I've been such a fan of these 3 episodes. Still early on in the season, right? The one thing that we tend to complain about is the execution or landing the final, usually half of the season. So let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that they can go ahead and continue that momentum all season long, because I've been hella pleased with what we've gotten so far.
Because looking back at season 2, I look at the first episode, which was, pretty dumb, but it felt like on a meta level, it was just them trying to say, hey, we're kind of changing directions here. So, episodes 2 through, I want to say like 6 or 7, where it really felt like the actual season started. And I remember really loving the way it started. I just didn't, I absolutely hated the second half of season 2. Once they got to the reveal, and then just everyone started just acting so emo and out of character, that's what made me lose interest in season 2. So in season 3 so far, with these first 3 episodes, it does actually seem like they're learning from their mistakes, because now what they're able to do, they're able to give people their own stories without having to find random reasons for them to be separated from the rest of the team, which is something I love. I think like the stories they wanted to tell in season 2 could have worked without having that forced drama in there. And I think they're realizing that with season 3, they can give people their individual arcs. Like we currently have Corey, having blackouts, and then just, finding herself in different areas, and then, finding herself basically having like kind of sleepwalking type of a deal. So I love that we can have that, but it's not, the cause of it isn't her just like leaving the team because of some random drama that makes no sense. There's, she's still part of the team, but she's still dealing with her own thing. Like I love that. I hope that's what we get throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned the idea of like just things being really out of character. Season 2 with the Hank and Dawn stuff felt like super out of character for somebody like Hank from what we just wind up getting in season 1. And when I get into season 3 here and I see the return of Hank, I'm like, okay, this feels familiar to me. This is the Hank from like season 1 that I recall, type of thing. I'm like, I'm so glad that he's back. And then I'm like, son of a bitch. Like
my jaw like dropped at the end of that episode. Like I knew things like, I'm like, it's Titan, so there's probably going to be a dark ending, but I really hope not. And then it happened, and I'm like, oh, I can't get mad because that was so well written.
It was so well written, yeah. And again, I am interested to know what's going on with Jason Todd, because like even Dick Grayson said, like Jason Todd doesn't pick up a book, man. Like the fact that he's like one step ahead of everybody, sort of thing. I mean, granted, I know that he trained with Bruce Wayne and stuff, but I feel like there's no way that this Jason Todd that we saw from season 2 is the brilliant genius mastermind behind everything that's certainly going on. So either he's gotten some sort of mental upgrade, whatever he's smoking has gotten him to that point, or maybe he's working alongside someone else behind that's still in the shadows that we haven't been revealed to as of yet. But he is ballsy, man. He is he's bringing the heat, just like you would certainly expect a Red Hood to certainly do. But yeah, man, I'm loving it so far. But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about Titan season 3 so far? If you had the opportunity to check it out, the first 3 episodes are currently on HBO Max, along with seasons 1 and 2. If you want to go ahead and check it out. But yeah, man, I'm loving everything that they're doing so far, and we definitely will continue to keep you updated as the season progresses. So we are doing reviews over on our channel. So if you want to go ahead and get those reviews, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification. So when we drop brand new videos, you'll definitely be notified.
One last question though about Titan season 3. What do you think of Tim Drake so far?
Well, I've only gotten one aspect of him, just a one episode I think we see him in. Clearly a fanboy, really appreciates Batman and Robin. You can clearly see the effects of the death of Robin sort of having an effect on him. So I can't remember exactly in the comic books if it's Tim Drake that pursues Bruce Wayne to become the next Robin, or if Bruce finds him. I can't quite recall. But I think Jay, for the most part, from what I've seen from him so far, I kind of like his rendition of Tim Drake. It'll be interesting to see. I hope he gets a little bit more shine as the season progresses. But I feel like at this point, anything goes with this kind of storytelling. It feels so original, like they're not really fully adapting anything. It almost has like an Elseworldsy type of vibe to me. I think based off of the decision and the dark path that they had Bruce Wayne go down in episode number 1. Right, it's always that big question of, Batman doesn't kill type of thing, right? But when you push the narrative and explore that a little bit, I think all bets are off at this point in time. Like the notion, when he says you'll be a better Batman sort of thing, when he says something like that, and the city is yours, I don't find it too far out of the realm of possibility of seeing Dick Grayson in a Batman suit at some point in time, whether that be this year, next season, who knows. But I love the fact that it feels really no holds barred. So I kind of want to see how Tim Drake fits into all this. I really do. I think the Robin situation is super fascinating for me right now, just based off of what they've shown, how cold-hearted Bruce Wayne can really be to some of these kids, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, I to let you know, in the comics, he's was the one seeking out Batman, and
Batman.
it seems like that's the direction they're going to be taking the
Yeah.
show in. So I absolutely loved Tim Drake in the brief amount of time that we got him, because he is extremely, just from that brief amount of time, I can say extremely comic book accurate.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree with you there. So that would make sense. I mean, that would definitely make sense for him to pursue it. And I would be even interested to kind of see what that conversation between a Tim Drake and a Dick Grayson is going to be, right? If Tim is that adamant about becoming a Robin, and we see how Dick Grayson has reacted to the idea of, like, you know, Jason, you literally just buried Jason Todd a week ago, and you're telling me you already have like people on your mind that you want to replace some sort of thing. So I really would like to see, like, if Dick Grayson gives him some type of warning or tries to talk him out of it. I would be interested. But yeah, you're right. I have been impressed with what we've seen so far. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comic book or comment section box below. Marcelino Vasquez does have one question. Just curious, which MCU TV show should I start watching first? Haven't watched any of them as of yet. If you are referring to, I would say Netflix stuff, if you want to go so far back as Netflix, even though it's really not MCU accurate at this point, I would always recommend Daredevil and Punisher, two great ones. What about you, Stuart, from Netflix at least?
Oh, from Netflix, then yeah, same answer. I would say Daredevil, Punisher, and then, you know, Jessica Jones season 1 was amazing, but season 2 was really terrible, and season 3 just, you know, wasn't my favorite. I thought season 3 had okay elements and was just kind of like average overall, but, you know, Jessica Jones' first season was really good. But yeah, all of Daredevil, like season 1 through 3, was amazing, and then I absolutely loved Punisher season 1 and 2. I think John Berthal is like my new favorite actor for the Punisher.
Yeah, he's perfect as it. But if we wanted to go more current MCU stuff that really matters and connects to the movies now, which MCU TV show would you suggest you start watching first?
Well, that really depends. If you want something familiar with the MCU, something that fits, like that feels like an MCU show, definitely Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But if you want something that feels very, very different and, you know, really shows like some unique directions that the MCU can really take, then I definitely would say Loki or WandaVision first, then Loki. But that all said, I think all three of these shows are absolutely amazing in their own way. So, you know, if you want to go in the chronological order, I believe it's WandaVision, Falcon, or actually, I think Loki would technically take place first. So I guess Loki, WandaVision, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I guess it really just depends on what you're aiming for. But yeah, if you want something that feels familiar, feels like the MCU, I would definitely agree with you, Stuart. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably the way to go in regards to your first viewing. And then, of course, yeah, I mean, if you want to see the MCU really do something grandiose and different, unlike anything else, probably Loki and WandaVision for sure. And just understand that WandaVision and Loki are going to be playing significant roles in the upcoming Doctor Strange movie also. So if you are interested in checking out the Doctor Strange 2 movie, yeah, you definitely want to go ahead and knock out WandaVision and Loki whenever you can. So it just really all comes down to preference, but great choices there, Stuart. All right. I think other than that, guys, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us today. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us. It feels great to be back here with each and every one of you. I believe Indy, he may not be here next week and the following week. I know he said he had maybe like 2 other Sundays that he's going to be working, and then he may have off for a few Sundays. So Indy will eventually be back here with us. He's just busy with work and life as of right now. But if anything, me and Stuart will certainly be back for you guys next weekend. So certainly look forward to that. But Stuart, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you on social media, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at TurboStew01 over on Twitter. Currently don't have any thing in the works on my other channel, which is called Turbo Studios. But the moment I'm working on something, I will definitely let you guys know.
Awesome. And don't forget to check out Stuart's stuff. He's doing reviews for Superman and Lois, which is about to wrap soon. And he just started his reviews for Stargirl. So certainly go ahead and check out his thoughts in regards to that.
Speaking of Superman and Lois, because it is the season 1 finale, I'm going to be going live with that review. I haven't picked a time yet, but it will be posted on the YouTube page the day before I go live, so you'll know the exact time when I post it on that Tuesday.
All right, awesome. So look forward to the live finale review for Superman and Lois. That should be pretty fascinating. Other than that, guys, for ourselves, we definitely have Titans season 3 continuing here on our channel. So certainly look forward to that. We definitely will be having Anime Assembled on Saturdays for you big anime fans coming from indie as well, and maybe a couple of character breakdowns as we go forward as well. So a lot of stuff happening. So definitely continue to look out for us. But we'll certainly be back with another live episode of A+ Hero Report next Sunday live at noon Central Time. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do so right up here at A+ Opinions. Very active over on our Twitter account, as well as our main page, which is our Facebook page, guys, where we post all the news throughout the weeks, posters, trailers, keeping you guys up to date. And that's exactly where we pick some of our stories to talk about here at A+ Hero Report. So definitely check us out there, as well as our Instagram page. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for us here this week. We'll see you next week. And until then, do us a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.